Longhorn and a proud card-carrying member of DBU. Legendary lifetime Longhorn and now College Football Hall of Fame Longhorn Derek Johnson said he was the best cover corner he had ever seen. He's a former NFL DB that still has that passion for film study, but he's not a fan of white condiments. But, of course, he is a fan of you, the listeners. He is my man and yours, Rod Babers.
I appreciate the intro as always. Let's not waste any time introducing the real MVP, one of the hardest working members of the ARN family. He's got a hustler spirit, period. We don't know what he's paid, but we do know that he's underpaid. It's Patrick Davis. What's going on, Patrick? How you doing?
Doing good, man. It's Friday.
It is Friday. Impossible not to be in a bad mood on Friday. And actually, we get off early. Actually, you know, I'm a little sad about getting off early. I like spending time with the listeners. You guys are the heartbeat and the pulse of this day, so please hit us up on the Specs text line 512-337-3776. Hope you're having a great Friday as well. You can also do that via Twitter. I'm at Rod Babers in Twitterverse. Harch is at Hardball Harch in the Twitterverse. My man Patrick Davis, he's at It's Patrick Davis. Real quick, since I started out with the Coke Fest part of the Friday opening as well.
Make it known, man.
It is official. The 2023 lineup has been announced for Coke Fest. So it's done deal Friday. Let me give you details first. It is August 4th and 5th. All right, it's gonna be tickets are gonna go on sale on Monday, and just visit cokefest.com, and you can go get tickets there and find out more information. But August 4th, they're gonna have Whiskey Myers. That's gonna be Friday, August 4th. Whiskey Myers, Sammy Kershaw, William Clark Green, Caitlin Butts, and the Weathered Souls. Saturday, August 5th, it's gonna be John Party, Riley Green, Kobe Cooper, Kevin Fowler. There you go, shout out. Treaty Oak Revival, Jacob Stelly, and Juliana Rankin. That's going to be your Saturday lineup. So Coke Fest lineup has been announced. Of course, the ARN family really excited about that. I hope you're excited about it too. So get over to cokefest.com and get some more details on that as well. Speaking of, since we're giving out, making announcements here on a Friday, we don't usually do it. You can go check out hornfm.com because the city of Butte is having a birthday. So you can go partake in their birthday celebration. The Horn's going to be out there. Coke's going to be out there. It's going to be at the Butte Amphitheater in City Park Saturday, starting at 3 p.m. They got a carnival all day long. Birthday cake. I think it's BYOB there too, so you can enjoy that. Live music starting at 5:45 with Uncle Lucius headlining at 7:30 p.m. So that's Saturday for Butte's birthday celebration. Go to hornfm.com for more details. All right, there you go. We never get that out the way early, but at least we did it this time. Everybody excited about Coke Fest. All right, gentlemen. Also, everybody excited about opening day.
No doubt.
All right. I guess Astros fans, go Astros, didn't work out the way Astros fans would have thought. Astros end up taking the L on opening day. And actually in that division, the Angels and the Astros
There you go.
take the L in that division.
There you go.
So we'll get into, because I think the pitch clock is probably the big topic of conversation.
Yep.
And I think we'll get into that because I did some research, kind of a deep dive rabbit holing about the pitch clock. So we'll get into it. But first start with the Rangers, because you got a chance to get to know this Ranger squad.
I did.
Because you went to some spring training.
Yep,
got
I
a
did.
chance to get to know these guys a little up close in person. So we'll get to the Astros, of course. But I want to start with the Rangers. 11-7 win over the Phillies. They were down 5 initially in this game, I believe in the fourth inning. If it was top of the fourth inning, they end up scoring 9 runs in the fourth inning to really blow the game wide open, and then they end up winning 11-7. You and Chipper Jones as well. You had him on for your Hard Knock Life earlier this week, the Hall of Famer and a good friend of yours, and you guys both agreed Rangers gonna surprise some people. Is this part of the surprise that you were talking about?
Yeah, because a lot of people had already written them off. They were mad at them. They were like, "Oh, here we go, same old Rangers. This is the same thing I expected." And then all of a sudden they win the game, and everybody's quiet. And, I don't hear anything on the Specs text line. But the funny thing about it is, and this is something that you and I talk a lot about behind the scenes when it comes to baseball, you have so many opportunities. You have a lot of chances, whether you get it wrong early and figure it out late, or you get excited about what you do early and then fade late. It all goes out because there's 162 of these opportunities that you get during the year.
It's a long season.
So it's a very long season. It's like all of a sudden people are up, they were like, "Oh, it's the same old Rangers." But ain't nobody saying anything about the Astros, and now all of a sudden the Stros get an L on the first day, but nobody's panicking. You know why? Because they have the track record. So I can understand where people are looking at the Rangers and saying, oh, it's the same Rangers. It's a little bit different. Jacob deGrom actually has some run support now. So every game that he pitched for the Mets, he was losing those types of games. He couldn't give up 5 runs.
Yeah.
He had a Shohei Ohtani type of night, right? Where Shohei goes out and pitches well, but he loses the game 2-1. You know what I'm saying? So there were those many games that he was facing. That's the beautiful thing about baseball. I know that people are like, oh, this game is boring. It takes forever. It does all these things. And we'll get into the numbers a little bit later.
Not anymore.
But you sit there and you look at it and you say, oh, man, look at this team. They have a lot of firepower, and I've said that from the very beginning. That offense for the Texas Rangers is going to be very, very good because there's a lot of players that have talent. They have a lot of players that have faced these types of situations. And then they brought up some young, ambitious players. There's only one rookie playing in that lineup, and that's Josh Young. You know what I'm saying? So this team has been around for a while, and right now they're in first place.
Oh.
You know what I'm saying? Like everybody's talking about it. I'm like, hey, they're in first place. You know, but
That's a surprise.
It is true. It is true. Hey, look, just let it play out. It's a long season. We'll be okay. The Rangers will be okay. Astros are going to be okay. The only team that you could possibly say will not be okay is the Angels. I mean, they keep doing the same thing. Shohei goes out there and pitches great. They can't score a run.
That's amazing. He struck out 10.
Yes.
Struck out 10. Yeah, it's a great stat about Shohei.
Yeah.
Struck out 10, allowed 0 runs during his time on the mound.
Yes.
But it wasn't enough. So of the 25 previous times that a Major League Baseball pitcher on opening day struck out 10-plus hitters and allowed 0 runs, that pitcher's record previously was 25-0.
Yeah.
They lost.
Yeah. But he got a no decision. So he was good.
Yeah, that's good.
So
That's
he's
good.
good.
Yeah,
So
but
he's good.
How do you? But getting back to the great mystery of how do you have the 2 best players, arguably on the planet, in regards to baseball, and yet still the Angels just can't really figure it out. So yeah, the Rangers. I thought that was an exciting way for them to open up the season, and yes, maybe they are the surprise team of Major League Baseball this year. It could be possible. The Astros, they came up short versus the White Sox, and really it was just Dylan Cease.
Yep.
And he had that was the best performance.
Nasty.
So the stats I gave yesterday that he had basically, I think his ERA was a 6.2 something ERA.
Yeah.
In his previous 4 starts versus the Astros. Well, I think he obviously wanted to change the narrative that I had put out there about Dylan Cease and his record with the Astros. He was phenomenal. He allowed 2 hits and a run with 10 strikeouts over a little over 6 innings pitched in his opening day start against the Astros. He was phenomenal, and the Astros, they just couldn't get a hit, especially the bottom of that lineup.
Yeah,
they couldn't. I mean, really, also, Ryan Presley didn't look like he was ready to play. And, I mean, it's unfortunate because it's one of those things, the World Baseball Classic, that I don't think he was – like, he should be more ready to play, but I think it was just he's a little bit off. He looked like he was off. He was flailing his arm around a whole lot after basically every pitch he threw. He was off, and he didn't pitch very well.
Yeah.
So that's unfortunate. You prefer if he's hurt, they'd just be like, hey, man, just be hurt. That's fine. Like, it's the beginning of the season.
Especially at the start of the season.
I think this may be something where he really doesn't want to say I got hurt in the World Baseball Classic because that already gets bad enough rap of players getting hurt, and Altuve got hurt. So I don't think he wants to go, oh, I pulled something in my arm during it because we ramped up too quick and I wasn't ready. I didn't ramp up right. So I think it maybe we'll see like a few games in, he'll be like, oh, I heard it on the mound today.
Okay.
But he did not look like the Ryan Presley we saw last year. The bullpen's
he wasn't used a lot in the World Baseball Classic.
He wasn't. He wasn't.
So that's a lot of it too.
Throwing off like just their off-season like schedule, the regimen, because
exactly.
baseball players.
So it's something that I think he'll be fine down the road. But you're lucky you have a good enough bullpen. You should be able to get through there. The rest of the team played really well. Valdez had a pretty good outing as well. Jordan gets the home run there at the end to pull it in a little bit closer. So I overall, it wasn't that bad. That was just disappointing because there was such a good game till it gets there, and then there was somebody who was pitching who you're like, I don't think you're 100% to be out there right now. And that's when the game swayed. But at the same point, it's one game out of 162. So it's not worth jumping off a bridge about. But it was disappointing, but you can come out and win the rest of the series because you're not going to be pitching, you're not going to be hitting against Dylan Cease the rest of this weekend.
One thing that wasn't disappointing was Megan Thee Stallion. You know what I'm saying? Going out there and throwing. You know, she might have been a little bit outside on that pitch, but let me tell you, her time on the mound was well worth it.
I don't think anybody was watching that pitch.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, pitch at all.
Oh yeah,
that's
Megan Thee Stallion.
No, she was very impressive.
Yeah.
Very impressive. I think we're all fans now.
Yeah, for
Her
sure.
fan base has now grown exponentially after watching that. The all white also works very well too. Something about the all white on white, it's always worked. But what I will say is the Mark Wahlberg thing came back to bite him. I think that was a jinx. Bad move, bringing in some East Coast guy
Exactly.
to throw out to
Boston Red Sox fan.
Yes, after she throws out the first pitch and everybody's hyped because she's H-Town, personified, it's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
And then you have this guy, Mark Wahlberg, nothing against Marky Mark. I know he hates people who call him that.
No, he's Marky Mark after last night.
Exactly.
After last night, he is Marky Mark.
That was bad mojo. They should have got a true, at least a Texan, but a true Houstonian, all right, to mark that occasion and to say play ball. But though they got Alex Bregman's business partner in their tequila-infused salsa, whatever the hell it is. I don't know. But still, that I think was the bad mojo. That's what got them.
That's very fair.
And remember, they had they were tied for the Major League Baseball record.
Yep.
For the most opening day wins since they joined the AL.
No
with
doubt.
10 straight.
With 10 straight.
And Marky Mark.
There he is. That's right. Call him by his name, Marky Mark
That's
and
what
the
happened.
Funky Bunch.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it was.
That's what it was. I'm blaming it on him.
Yeah, no doubt.
That's really. I'm not going with the injuries or anything. I'm blaming it on Marky Mark. I think that was just bad
Exactly.
mojo for the Astros. Thank you, Texter, refreshing our memory with Megan Thee Stallion. Yeah, for some reason I don't. Did Megan Thee Stallion was she not known? Was she not known in terms of the sports fans? Did they not know?
Now, a lot
Megan
of
Thee
people
Stallion
didn't know
was?
her.
Okay.
You know that. You know we do.
Yeah,
we
see,
do.
yeah, I guess not because Chan says he's Googling now. Okay, well, I guess
Yeah,
people did.
So
So now the sports world's going crazy. I'm like, well, she is impressive, but we've been seeing Megan Thee Stallion
We've
for like
known her
5
for a
years
minute.
Rob, what's the
now.
average age of baseball fans?
55.
57.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
so
yeah.
how many
Really old.
57-year-olds think you know who Megan
Megan Thee
Thee
Stallion.
Yeah.
That is true. That's a
I
good
think
point.
that is where our main problem is.
That is a
that there was
great
a bunch
point.
of guys sitting there like, oh, wait a minute, wait till I get home.
But now they do, and now
I'll pull
they're
up- They're gonna be googling her on Internet Explorer. They're gonna be asking Jeeves on Internet Explorer.
like-
Asking G.
They're gonna be like, does she have an OnlyFans?
It's an
I would love
AOL
that.
account. It's an AOL.
No, you're right. That's a great point. Great point. So maybe this is why the baseball world was electrified when Megan Thee Stallion took them out. No. She's damn fine. That's
She's
what she is.
H-Town. I know that my group text, most of my boys live
No, she's
in
great.
H-Town. That's all they were talking about. They didn't care that the Astros lost. They was like, man, she really rocked that white on white.
She won the day.
Yes, she did.
She won the day. The Astros lost, but Megan Thee Stallion won the day.
Man,
So
did
good
she
for her.
ever.
No, she really did. Yeah, she's.
Yeah.
This CV said them jeans, the jeans she was wearing were the tights pair of jeans. Yeah, they essentially were like painted on.
No, yeah.
And
how do we know they
when you got a
weren't?
physique like that,
Hello.
you can wear whatever you want to wear.
Hello.
Nobody's gonna complain about that.
Nope,
Who
not
gave
at
her
all.
who gave her the hug? The suspect hug? Which one of the Astros gave her the
I
suspect
can't
hug?
remember who was.
Oh, it was.
He's got
it
the
was.
glove.
It was. What you call it?
He's got
It
his
was
hand. He's got his.
the 6-footer. The 6'5". Hensley.
It was
Or
Hensley. You're right.
Yeah,
I think you're
yeah,
right. I think
yeah.
it was Hensley.
Oh, he made sure he was the one to receive that. I'm surprised Dusty Baker didn't go out there.
Was he the only one to hug her? How many hugs did she give?
No, that was
Well,
it.
he was the one-
She only
one.
gave one. Okay.
Well, he was the catcher.
I know, but I'm just saying, I would have went in for. I'd have went
I'd
in
have been in
line
that
there.
line
Guys would be
straight
in
up.
line waiting there like,
Yeah.
hey, congratulations.
Yeah, yeah.
Everybody wanted to go in for a hug. Yeah, he.
Yeah.
Some people are now questioning his technique. Going there with the hug.
No, yeah, a lot of people.
Well, they say he
it's
went
the
low, low.
internet.
He went low, low
He had
with
his
the glove.
glove on.
The glove weighed his hand down.
Yeah, man, have you ever
What?
had one of those in a long time?
Oh, really? The glove weighed
I
his
got
hand
one
down.
in the car.
So
It was like,
it had
hey,
to
man.
rest on the.
Bro.
It had to rest on the apple bottom.
He wasn't trying to go there. Have you seen that thing?
It takes a lot. It takes up a lot of space.
I mean,
It had a gravitational
he had to
pull,
hug
Rod.
her.
It's a
Was he trying to hug her around the top of her head? I mean, he could get
these
up there.
days, yeah, that's the hug you got to do.
That is true. It would have been a
These days,
side hug. It was a side hug.
Yeah, in the post Me Too era, you guys know you hug waist out. All right, genitals out, and then you chest in, let that kind of
My man
weird,
said,
awkward hug.
he said, I'm 54 and I understood the assignment.
Oh, even women were impressed by
Oh,
that.
yeah.
This was something that's not just for men.
Oh,
If you're
yeah.
a woman and you weren't impressed by that, I'm mad at you too. Like,
I'm a little disappointed in you.
That's, even my wife was like, "Damn." I was like, "Oh yeah,
Oh, yeah.
hot girl."
That's why they call her a stallion.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why
the
they
whole
call her
point.
the stallion. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I mean,
Quite impressive.
yes, it was.
And did the Astros win? No, I'm just kidding.
Who cares? After that, I don't think anybody was like, "They got 160 something games. It's all right."
Let's put it like this.
Let Megan Thee Stallion win the day.
Dusty Baker took out his toothpick. You know what I'm talking about? He was like,
No, he didn't take it out. It dropped out of his mouth.
Exactly. There
After
it is.
his-
Ding, ding.
But his mouth was left
That's
wide
right. He
open.
was like, wait a minute.
And he wasn't the only one.
Yeah.
Oh, man. That
Probably
was it.
gave her a bottle of wine. You know how Dusty do? He got a wine business. That dude is
That
letting
was
them
a
know.
great day. Whoever her publicist is, that was brilliant.
Oh,
Because she got a whole new fan base now. Look at the text that says, "Come on now, man. I'm 54." The other says, "Yeah." She got a whole new fan base.
Yeah.
Chan is looking it up. He's like, "Wow." I mean, now you got fans everywhere. Like,
Yeah.
man, she was phenomenal. Yes, and you should listen to her actually rap. She actually is a good rapper too.
it's for the hot girl summer.
No,
You
she
know what
is.
I'm
Like, she
talking
actually is one of my favorite female rappers as
Yeah.
well. I say one of my favorite rappers. I'll just drop the female thing.
Yeah,
There
thank
go.
you.
Boom.
about? She can bring it.
She can bring it.
She brought it.
All right, now I'm distracted. I
Yeah,
had
my
a plan
bad.
of
Hey, I'm going to go
everything
back
to get
and
into.
look at this. Let me say.
Oh,
There she
come
go.
on. Don't
Yeah.
be sending out on the spec text on.
No,
I
that's
got a
great.
job to do here.
Well, I mean, one of
I
our
have a job
jobs is
to do.
we always
How
ask
can I
them
focus
to
with
hit
that?
us up on
Take
the
that,
specs.
please. I
text
cannot
line.
focus with that. I can't.
I'm gonna take it
I
one more
can't.
time.
No, I
for you.
cannot.
I'm
Why?
blow
You
it up
enlarge
for
it?
you. Yeah, I'm gonna enlarge
I
it for
can't
you.
focus with that on the screen.
Yeah.
I
Hey.
really can't.
Hey,
Wow.
hello.
That's amazing. Where'd you
Yeah.
get that picture? I
How
gotta
you do
find
that? There?
Google Images. Thank you. Wow.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
How
Okay.
you do that? There.
Now I'm going to get back to focusing on the baseball. I want to talk about the game duration.
Somebody else text us on the specs text line so we can change this.
Oh, okay. That's just Orange. Orange can change it when he wants to. Okay, so I want to get to this. I did a little deep diving. Oh,
Yep.
we got to get to that marriage proposal too.
Oh yeah, that was one of my favorites.
Okay, let's get to that. We might
Okay,
say
let's do
this
that.
later. The marriage proposal thing, right?
Outstanding.
Okay, so I'm sure by now everybody has seen this marriage. Patrick, have you seen this marriage proposal
Yes.
going wrong? And apparently it didn't go wrong.
I was fixing to say it did not go wrong.
Yeah, apparently they put up a picture later, so she accepted the proposal. Okay, but this guy,
They didn't show up his internal bleeding on this page.
this jabroni goes out, right?
Yep.
He ran onto the field at Dodger Stadium to propose. And then I would say how many seconds? What would we say? About 2-3 seconds he's on the knee? I don't even know if he's on the knee that long. Maybe about 2 seconds he's on the
Yeah.
knee before the security guy comes. And I mean, this is a hit that probably in the NFL might get you flagged. I mean, he just laid it out. Just laid him out. Just waylaid the dude.
Right.
I mean, he definitely took out some frustration on this guy. Didn't seem like he had to hit him that hard. He could have just took him down.
The guy
but
wasn't moving.
The guy wasn't moving.
Like normally you're trying to get a moving target and you got to be moving, so you got to take him down. This guy could have easily walked up behind him, handcuffed him, and walked him out, right?
I totally agree with you. He seemed like he would have been more than willing to comply.
That dude was waiting for that day to come.
He was. That was a great point. He
What
had
was
a
that?
plan.
Was the old original Kings of Comedy? Some people,
I wish that mofo would.
white people hope things don't go wrong.
Yeah.
Like
I
people
wish.
that guy was wishing.
He
Yeah.
did, man. I felt bad. He didn't have to tackle him like that. Of course, yeah. You take the risk when you go out there like that.
Okay, let me
the risk.
let me kind of explain this situation to you. I have a son that is part of a security team.
Okay.
I sent him the video, and his exact words to me were, "Hell yeah, I wish somebody would so I could be a part of that." When the Austin FC had their streaker on the field, my son was the one that ran out there and destroyed him.
Do we have video of that?
Oh yeah, I got video
Can I
of that.
see that
Oh
video?
yeah, I got
Oh,
you.
I want that.
I got you on that video.
That's
yes.
fantastic.
So when I sent that to him this morning, I said, "Hey, what would you have done?" He said, I'm glad that dude did that because that is what I'm waiting for. I'm waiting for another chance to get somebody like that.
Yeah, I think he was a defenseless receiver, though, man. I think it's flag on the play.
Hey.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with Pat. You could have went over there, and he could have subdued him. He could have just, grabbed him,
Hey, you
aggressively.
took the risk
Hey,
to go
man.
onto the
He's
field.
proposing.
It does,
I will say,
He's not
I will
doing anything
say,
aggressive. He's not
solid.
streaking is different than proposing.
I will say that is a solid message to not do that again.
Thank you.
So on that effect, I agree with it because I'm like, look, dude, you can't have this because if you just arrest him, then there is a chance that someone else will be like, oh, I'll go do that. Like I'll go hop on the field. What am I gonna do? They're gonna pay a fine and they won't let me. Who cares?
Ooh.
Go pay a fine. That dude was like, you going like, you want to do that? It's like, you want to be in a wedding in a brace?
yeah.
I wonder did he keep.
They didn't elope. They didn't elope. He got time. He got time.
So they definitely recovered the ring, but do you think he dropped the ring? Because he has the ring in
The
the
referee-
box.
the referee-
ring goes flying. The
The
box
umpire
goes flying.
goes by and does this. He didn't have control. He didn't have control.
Oh
Yeah,
man!
he got destroyed.
But she said yes.
Yo, she better have.
The girlfriend said yes. That's all that matters.
Yeah. The question is, did the
What about us?
girlfriend's parents, are they like, oh God, what are you marrying?
Is this
This
what
idiot
we have
hopped
to
on the
deal
field?
with the entire
Hey,
time?
the marriage proposal is supposed to be something, about spontaneous. It's supposed to be something memorable. Great story.
Yep.
It does check all those boxes.
I
Yep.
I would
So
go
we'll-
with not illegal for most of them.
That's true.
I would go if I was a parent and my daughter was marrying somebody, be like, hey, was the proposal mostly legal? And they'd be like, no, mostly illegal.
But you definitely want to ride or die, though. You want to ride or
Yeah.
die. You want somebody that would drive the white Bronco for you, ultimately. You'd like to marry that person. I did not marry that person. My wife has already told me that she would turn me in. If I basically went home like OJ, need somebody to drive the white, she would not drive the white Bronco for me.
Yep.
She is not ride or die. She would turn me in.
She's right.
She
just not that.
No. She's already said, like, no, you do something that crazy. That's not who I married.
Yeah.
I'm turning you in. So my wife would not.
She wouldn't let you go on Bachelor, so you good.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. Like, you need an AC in your life. Somebody.
Exactly.
Hopefully, you marry that person that would drive the white Bronco. But like I said, that's to me, that's a ride or die move. Like, that means like, hey man, I'm gonna get arrested. I got mollywopped out here, but I'm ride or die for you, girl.
Yeah.
That's all I'll say.
Oh,
I'm a romantic though.
There you go.
I'm
You
a
was gonna
romantic.
propose on the Bachelorette.
I was gonna propose on the back. I was gonna have one of these. moments.
Yeah, you were gonna have.
Most-
You would have got side tackled. You better have great peripheral vision.
Who's gonna tackle me on the show? Nobody gonna tackle
Everyone's gonna
Now-
be like, no.
Now I might get slapped by the woman in the finals when I propose to another woman. She's like, "What? Get the hell off of this show." That could happen, but no. But yeah, there you go. So a lot of random headlines and a lot of storylines from Major League Baseball's opening day. I thought it was a success.
I did too.
I thought it was a
and
success.
I know we're
Overwhelming.
definitely
We'll get
going
to
to
the
talk
pitch clock.
about the
We'll get
pitch
to-
clock.
I promise we'll do
And
it.
I thought that
we'll
was
do it
it,
next
too.
segment. Actually, we'll do it next segment. We'll just push it next segment.
And I've talked to a couple of my buddies that have been in the game and for a long time, and there's a segment that I'm going to go over in the Hard Knocks Life about the minor league pay wages as well. That's a huge hot topic button right now. But they were talking about, man, I don't know how I feel about this pitch clock stuff, but I will give you a stat next segment about stolen bases. What did I tell
we'll
you?
get into that.
What did I tell you? I said it is going to go up. The stolen bases will be back, and the excitement of the game will happen.
The lost art form.
Exactly.
They found it.
They found it.
They found it.
They were like,
found
we
it.
need stolen bases. We need a pitch clock.
Hey, fair point here on the Specs text line. In defense, way too close to like national shooting incidents and
Yep,
stuff.
yep.
Said someone jumped out in the field and drops a knee. Just don't know what that dude was trying to do.
Exactly.
Totally agree with that. And yeah, that's a great point.
100%.
Unfortunately, that is a reality.
100%
You're right about that. We
though.
can't just be.
Yep.
It can't just be fun loving and good natured because
Not anymore.
Not anymore. People got a job to do.
It was fun loving watching that guy get tackled, though.
It was funny though. No, it was funny.
was funny.
But that guy, it was a textbook tackle. He laid into him.
Yeah.
I mean, he really did. It
I
was
saw
like
Phil Yates said somebody need to get him to a combine. Somebody needs to get him
in
in.
terms of football guy, that was a textbook tackle. But yeah, I'm with Patrick. He's been holding that in. Now we need
Plus,
to know.
he's a Dodgers fan, so it's kind of funnier.
He did have
have
on a Mookie Betts shirt.
Yeah, so it's a little bit funnier if he's a Dodgers fan.
Fair point. All right, we come
Craig
back.
Way don't think so.
That is true. All right, we come back. We'll get into the pitch clock and we'll get into some of the other storylines from all around the sports world. Dane Brugler now on the Bijan Robinson bandwagon for the Cowboys. We'll explain that too. All of that and more right here on Ball Don't Lie on 104.9 The Horn.
It's your boy Hardball Harge here, and I want to talk to you about my friends over at Allstat Beer. Allstat is born in Fredericksburg, Texas, right in the heart of the Texas Hill Country, and they have a beautiful state-of-the-art brewery. You need to make sure that you plan a trip. I know some of you have already told me that you've been out there, and you told me all of the different activities that you were enjoying while you were out there. But for those that haven't been out there, make sure you plan a trip today because they have an amazing fine dining restaurant. They have a tap room where you can try multiple flavors if you're into that kind of thing. And most of the people like their one favorite beer. I like to try them all, and you should too. Plan a tour today and see it for yourself. You can enjoy great beer with great food and, of course, take some great friends out there. It's the weekend, so go out there and enjoy some live music. Beautiful weather is happening right now, so plan a trip today. Go to allstatbeer.com and find a local watering hole where you can enjoy some or where you can pick some up on your way home. Regardless, make Allstat your beer of choice. Allstat beer is made with 100% true German ingredients. That means German hops, malts, and yeast. And, of course, that natural hill country water. Allstat beer, no impurities, no regrets.
Welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. 512 Friday edition of Ball Don't Lie. That's when we play jams from local bands and artists, very talented human beings that you have a chance to catch live right here in the ATX. And my man Patrick, who's in the know, lets you know how you can do it. Who we jamming right now, Patrick?
This is Aaron Stevens, and he is playing Sunday at Central Machine Works.
Okay, there you go. All right. And if you miss any of these suggestions, go to hornfm.com. My man Patrick always posts them up there for you so you can look cool in front of all your friends. Like this texter who says, Megan Thee Stallion's the best reason so far for not having a pitch clock. Well done. We'll set that.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Leads us right into our next discussion.
Exactly.
The pitch clock, but well set there. Well set. Okay. Let's get into this the pitch clock a little bit because I saw that the average game duration for opening day, 2 hours and 45 minutes.
Yep.
And I gotta tell you, I think that's an overwhelming success just early on to get it under 3 hours. And I think, I believe in spring training, they were able to trim about 25 minutes off, and they were at 2 hours and 35 minutes on average.
Yep.
So 2 hours and 45 minutes is still probably right around the expected time that they thought they could trim from each game, just on average. And one of the things that we started looking at yesterday, and we were just looking at a few of the games, you had some high-scoring games,
Yep.
but those games, it seemed like the high-scoring games were the longer games, which is, I think, a win. That's exactly what I think the formula, or at least the rule changes, and now with all the different, obviously the restrictions now, I think all of that is to increase scoring. They want scoring to go up, but they also want the pace to increase.
Right. They want fans involved.
They want pace to increase, yes, and they want to shorten the duration of the games, obviously. But yeah, if your games are going to be longer, as long as you got more runs and more points being scored, I don't think people complain as much about the duration of the game being longer.
No, because there's still a lot of activity that's going on. You got hidden runs, you got timeouts, you still have all these different things that are happening. So just here are some of the numbers from opening day. The average was 2 hours and 45 minutes, which Rod just mentioned. Last year's average was 3 hours and 3 minutes. So
Okay.
you trimmed it by 21 minutes. So okay, that's cool, whatever. And again, that just goes to show you that it wasn't that far off. So when you're saying you trim 21 minutes off of it, and by the way, this has been happening in the minor leagues for the past couple seasons. So they're already, a lot of these guys that are making their major league debut, this is nothing new to them. Those guys have been involved with this for a while, especially young pitchers. They've already done it. So there's so many things that have happened with it. So there was also 14 clock violations, 8 by the pitcher.
I like that.
4 by the batter, 1 by a base runner, and the other one by a catcher. So here's one of the things that I looked at by the base runner. So Pete Alonso was taking too long to get from second base back to first base so the clock could start, right? So you're looking at it, and you're trying to figure out what's going on. He takes a little while to get back. By the time the guy steps into the batter's box, they've already assessed a strike to the batter. So it's also making everybody don't walk, run. You know what I'm saying? Everybody always talks. Only thing you can control is your hustle.
Yep.
So this is part of it, to where it's like you're in charge of what you can do. Like we always tell people, control the things that you can control.
The controllables.
Exactly. Your hustle, your effort, and your attitude are all 3 things that you can control. And that's what they're looking at. It's like, all right, hustle back. Hustle back. Hurry up and get back, because now you're dealing with the pitch clock. So that was good for me to see, and making everybody kind of speed up. But this is the biggest thing, and I've been talking about this for a long time, the lost art of the stolen base. There's been less stolen bases. There have been less hidden runs. There's been a lot of things that have changed in the game. There were 21 stolen bases yesterday in the major leagues, the most on an opening day since 1907.
That's
Since
crazy.
1907. So in 2022, there were 5 stolen bases on opening day, just strictly opening day. 5 stolen bases on opening day. There were 4 caught stealing, and you had a success rate of 56%. This year, there were 21 stolen bases. There were 2 people that were caught stealing, a 91% success rate.
Nice. Bigger bases helping that a little bit?
Big in bases, and the fact that they can only throw over 2 times.
Yeah.
So if you throw
Once they throw over twice, I know I got it.
right.
I know I'm gone.
So if you throw over twice,
you can't waste those opportunities.
and you throw over that 3rd time, you have to get the guy out. You have to. It has to be, I'm getting this guy out. So guys just can't take off.
Yeah.
You still got time to hold the
And you
ball.
have that cat and mouse game of just keep on throwing over there and keep on throwing over
where
there.
the fans are
Try to-
booing.
Yeah.
Remember? Boo!
I'm with you. I used to hate that too. I'm like,
Yeah.
come on, man.
Yeah.
Well, and when you're trying to get someone in the bullpen ready,
Yep.
and they're
Go-
just like, don't
Yep.
throw another pitch. Like we need you to go, like waste this time.
Exactly.
I'm with you, man. I think it's, like I said, I supported the rule changes, thought they were going to be great. All of them, not just the pitch clock one. I know there are some. We had Chipper Jones on doing Your Harsh Knock Life, and he said that he loves the pitch clock idea. He doesn't necessarily agree with all the other rule changes, but he did say something that I thought was really interesting. That he said all of these rule changes are designed to restore the game to its former state.
Yeah.
You just brought up the stat about stolen bases, which is a brilliant stat. So almost 100 years since they've
almost
been
100 years.
they've
That's
been
right.
that active stealing bases in Major League Baseball, and that's what he was talking about. That part of it too. And I went and looked at it because he was talking about restoring it to its former state, and I was a little shocked to find out, man, there has basically been a there has been a theoretical pitch clock on the books since like 1901.
Yeah, theoretically. Yeah, 100%.
It wasn't enforced.
Right.
It was like because basically the National
It's
League,
an unwritten rule, basically.
yeah, the National League and the American League adopted a mandate. The umpire shall call a ball, and the pitcher each time he delays the game by failing to deliver the ball to the batsman for longer than 20 seconds.
Yep.
More and in hell, I mean in. Basically, and I think in 2006 they made an amendment actually when the bases are occupied, the pitcher shall deliver the ball to the batter within 12 seconds after he receives the ball. So it is strange that he brought up that it's restoring the game to its former state. And yeah, there's always been a push for a pitch clock.
Yeah.
It's like it's been the research that I done, just a little bit of research. It's been something that basically baseball's been fighting over for a long, long time. Trying to speed up the pace of the game, to constantly speed up the pace of the game. The first, baseball mind, if you will, to really get serious about the pitch clock, to actually bring it like was Greenberg, was GM, the Cleveland GM Hank Greenberg.
Yep.
And he was
a former major leaguer too. He was a former big time player.
And he was
too.
shouted down and kind of laughed at, and basically people kind of poo-pooed the idea of a pitch clock. But in 1960, his friend and business partner Bill Veeck, owner of the White Sox at the time, he debuted the exploding scoreboard.
Yep.
And the scoreboard had a hidden feature. It had a pitch clock. They called it the pitcher meter. And this was in 1960.
Yep.
And
Bill Veeck is also the one who had the disco at the ballpark where they were blowing up all the stuff.
He was basically kind of a Barnum and Bailey.
Yes, he
was. He
was
a showman.
Yes, he was.
He was all about
Comiskey Park.
Yes, he was all about the show.
Yep.
So yes, when the hand hit 20 seconds, a siren would go off.
Yep. Yep.
Sounds like it'd be pretty damn entertaining, actually. But yeah, so they actually put up the pitcher meter. Basically, but that was like his idea, but it whiffed, basically. That was his idea, but it didn't really happen. Couldn't bring it to fruition, but he was really, really serious about it. But after that, the National Baseball Congress, they oversee a lot of semi-pro leagues, and they decided in 1962 they were actually going to use an actual pitch clock in their semi-pro leagues.
Yep.
That really started to change the conversation. At least it gave them a sample size of teams that were actually doing it at the lower levels. And in 1963, Major League Baseball enlarged the strike zone and to shorten games and lower offense. And the pitch clock kind of basically spread to like the different leagues, the Texas League, I believe, at the time too.
Mm-hmm.
And it was Charlie Finley, A's owner, at the time in 1965, I believe. He wanted the pitcher meter, and he actually was the first, I think, owner that took it really seriously, and he threw it up in some of his ballparks.
Right. I mean,
Yeah.
it's
like
an important
three-
aspect to
yeah.
it, man. There's a lot of aspects that go into this situation strictly because of the being able to really get into the ball game. Our guys walking around the mound, that annoys me. I played with a guy that played in the big leagues for a very long time. His name was Kirk Reeder. He was a left-handed pitcher. He didn't walk around. As soon as he threw a pitch, the ball came back to him. He was back on the mound. He pitched a game in the big leagues that was 2 hours and 12 minutes. 2 hours and 12 minutes because he pitched a lot of ground balls. He pitched to contact, and he made you stay engaged into the ball game. When I was playing with him in the A-ball, I was like, this dude is working so fast that you don't have time to do any nonsense. And I loved it. I loved it. And he went on to pitch in the big leagues for a real long time, and he didn't overpower you. He wasn't one of those big arm guys that we were talking about, but he kept you engaged in the game. And that is what, going back to your point of the clock and how the dude tried to do it for a long time, that's important. I know a lot of people don't understand that, but if you're playing defense, it gets really boring, especially when a guy is walking a lot of people. Right? Yeah. So if you're walking and then you walk around while you're trying to collect your thoughts.
Too much dilly-dallying.
It's way too much.
Too much dilly-dallying.
I did a game last year for Flow Sports that it was 5 hours and 42 minutes of a baseball game.
Yeah.
There's not that much to talk about during that time.
Seriously.
You know what I'm saying?
I
Like
agree.
you're searching for stories during that time.
I agree. Yeah.
And it was a 9-inning game.
And nobody wants to listen to it or watch a game that is that long.
You're like, man, what am I? You didn't already checked out if you're watching it online.
So the research that I've done basically says this movement's been around forever.
Yes.
It just didn't have enough widespread support. There were just all of these different either exhibitionists or, these really progressive minds, I should say, in baseball that wanted to pursue it like Charlie Finley did back in the day. And pretty much by 1970, even after the year of the pitcher, they still considered it. It died. Then everybody pretty much stopped talking about pitcher meters and pitch clocks. But now, obviously, the resurgence of it, and now it is official. It is law, the rule of law in Major League Baseball. And I do think it's going to be an overwhelming success. It's going to speed up the game.
I agree.
And, the dilly-dallying.
Yeah, there's not a lot of that.
There's been dilly-dallying in baseball since I've been watching it, actually.
Forever.
Unfortunately.
Forever.
I grew up with
third baseman coming in to talk to the pitcher, second baseman coming in. Hey, let's have a group meeting out here.
Yeah.
Throw strikes and we'll be okay.
Yeah. I grew up with the dilly-dallying culture in baseball, and honestly, I think a lot of athletes like myself grew up in that generation.
Yeah.
This generation of baseball fans are watching this type of baseball. I think they're going to be much more fixated on the game and the pace of it too.
Yeah.
It is. I think it's actually something that's going to be tremendously successful and beneficial as it relates to their ability to attract and lure younger fan bases, because that's what they need to do.
That's exactly what they need.
And young people, come on, let's be honest. They don't have attention spans.
No.
And none of us really do. Our brains have now adapted to the mobile phones and all the microwave society that we live in. Our brains have adapted to it. That's why all of our attention spans now are shrinking considerably.
It's totally different.
Yeah, but the kids especially, that's why TikTok is built the way it is.
Exactly, 20 seconds.
Exactly, it's pretty much
20
it.
seconds.
Boom, 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 boom.
Keep it moving.
Yeah, it's just it's constant, just constant stimulation, pretty much, but only in small bites and increments.
Yep.
And then it shifts to something new.
Love it.
And that's what baseball's, I think, that's what they're going to come. All sports want to do it, though. College football is trying to shorten their games as well. They just proposed some new rules to shorten the game. The NFL is always trying to shorten their games.
Yep.
That's why now they do the picture-in-the-picture commercial breaks and stuff like that. Every sport now has to adapt to the newer generation, which ain't going to sit around for 3 hours and watch your game.
Yeah.
They don't want to do it, now, especially if it's boring. All right, we'll come back. We'll got the flex on the other side right here on Ball Don't Lie on 104.9 The Horn.
We were just talking about dilly-dallying around. One thing you don't ever want to dilly-dally around with is in the bedroom. That's why you need to holler at my friends over at Blue Chew. Go to BlueChew.com today and find out how you can gain that extra confidence in the bedroom when it's time for you to go a couple extra rounds when needed. I just want you to make sure that you use this unique online service. Let me explain to you how this all works. You go to BlueChew.com, you consult with their online medical professionals, and once you're approved, you'll get a prescription within days. The best part about it, as I told you, it's all done online. Blue Chew is a unique online service that delivers the same active ingredients that you might find in Viagra and Cialis. But check this out. It's all in a chewable form, and you get it at a fraction of the cost. Once again, you deal with licensed medical professionals that work right with you to find the right strength of your prescription. If you don't like swallowing pills, don't worry about it. I told you. It's in a chewable form. It's all made in the US of A, and it's shipped direct, and it's cheaper than a pharmacy. Do yourself a favor, go to BlueChew.com, type in that promo code HARDBALL at checkout, and you'll just pay $5 for shipping. That's BlueChew.com, promo code HARDBALL, all one word, and you'll get that first month free. I'm going to tell you right now, you want that extra confidence when it's time to perform? You visit BlueChew.com.
All right, welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. I like this jam. This is nice. 512 Friday, playing jams from local bands and artists, very talented human beings that you can catch live right here in the live music capital of the world. Who are we jamming right now, Patrick?
This is Bob Schneider. He's playing Saturday at the Hill Country Galleria.
Wow. It's a nice jam right there. I like it. All right. Yeah, my man Patrick always keeping you in the know when it comes to the local talent. If you miss any of the suggestions for 512 Friday, you can go catch up with them at the webpage at hornfm.com. All right. Also go to flxatx.com, FLXATX on all of your social media platforms. And you go check out all the great content up there for you with the Flex crew, of course. Remember the Wednesday Flex show. You can go check out the podcast of the Wednesday Flex show. Matter of fact, got Kinfolk from my man Harge. Nico Hamilton was on with that group, and they broke down a lot. He's actually being recruited by a few schools actually here in the state of Texas. So he gives you the lowdown on that. Was his father on there as well?
Yeah, Tony was on
there
too.
A little bit. There you go.
I was listening too. I was like, oh God. They said we're gonna get Tony on. I'm like, oh. Y'all think I'm wild. My kinfolk is 100% me.
Yeah, so that's good stuff. So go check that out. They have that podcast up there for you. You can go check that out. And we did talk yesterday about, speaking of Lake Travis, a former Lake Travis Cavalier, but now a Viper. Jacob Henry, Mark Henry's son, is switching over. They moved apparently out there to that school district, and now he is a Vandergrift Viper. All right, so you can go to flxatx.com, FLXATX on all of your social media platforms, and go check out what the Flex crew has to offer there. We will get into some Texas spring football discussion on the other side. We got some spring football nuggets to get into. Yesterday, we heard from Sark. He did have a media availability after the spring practice. I believe it was their 8th spring practice of spring football. So they're a little more than halfway through it. We're close to the spring game. I believe
we
are.
Right? We're almost 2 weeks away.
I was gonna say, there you go. So
2 weeks from tomorrow.
2 weeks from
because tomorrow's April 1st.
Oh, good point.
So it's the 15th.
Oh man, you know what? I'm so glad I don't have to deal with human beings for April Fools. I could just be.
Hey, you ain't heard Patrick say, no joke.
Yeah. I can go just because I know.
No, I know exactly what you're talking about.
I don't really care about April Fools, but some people, they are really into April Fools, and I'm just not. And I will forget about it. I want to feel like I won't pay attention to it.
Yeah, and then, you're going to get on Twitter and be like, what?
Exactly.
What? Oh.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah,
and then
that's it.
In the sports world, it's big for some reason. Everybody wants to have a fake report about something, and I'm like, man, I got a job to do, so thank God I don't have to work. Not do anything, so I don't have to worry about being fooled on April Fools. Because oftentimes I am. Because I'll forget all about it. Got too much stuff going on.
Because that's not, you're a grown up. You know what I'm saying? You're not actually sitting there thinking about, I'm going to see who I could trick today. Because I'm a grown up and I want to look at grown up things.
Agreed. Like Megan Thee Stallion.
Like Megan Thee Stallion. BlueChew.com.
I love that Megan Thee Stallion automatically triggers a BlueChew.com.
Hey, sometimes you don't even need Blue Chew, but
love it.
You need it when you got to deal with Stallion.
Did you say, but? You got to deal with it.
Yeah, well said there. I like that. But yeah, I believe with Megan Thee Stallion, you may not need the Blue Chew.
Oh yeah, you do.
You do, really?
I'm telling you, even if you are that dude, Blue Chew has something for you.
If I was with Megan Thee Stallion, I would need something to decrease my libido. I need something to, I need something to calm it down.
It's a hot girl summer coming up, dog. You got to be ready.
You have to calm me down. You need something. What decreases libido? What's the opposite of Blue Chew? I need the anti-Blue Chew.
Is that like the Matrix? Is there a red chew?
That's what I would need if I was with Megan Thee Stallion. I would need that.
I love it. Or
my beautiful wife.
There it is.
Yes, as well.
There you go.
Anyway.
Stay with that. Great answer, my brother.
Too much Megan Thee Stallion love. All right, we'll come back. We got Texas football nuggets for spring football. Also, Texas baseball, big matchup coming up this weekend. So while we're off early, we got our man Hardball to help us break it down. We'll do that a little bit too. Coming up next, right here on Ball Don't Lie, 104.9 The Horn.
If you've been using that Blue Chew, you might need to call my friends over at quickroofing.com today, because that is going to be something that you need to look at. Oh, let me tell you why you need to call my friends over at Quick Roofing. You get a free, no obligation inspection. You get 7-year workmanship warranty. Quick Roofing is fully insured and have all state and local licenses. Quick Roofing doesn't even require any money up front until 100% completion and, of course, 100% satisfaction. Quick Roofing always makes sure that there's a project manager on every job site to make sure that you, the customer, get everything that you were promised. So do yourself a favor right now. Go to quickroofing.com today and set up that free inspection. You don't even think about your roof enough. I promise you that, because I don't either. But I definitely will make sure that I call Quick Roofing. They did my roof before, and I need you to make sure that they do your roof as well. Go to quickroofing.com today. That is quickroofing.com.
All right, welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. 512 Friday. That means we play jams from very talented human beings that you can catch live right here in the live music capital of the world. My man Patrick lets you know exactly how you can do that. Who we jamming right now, Patrick?
This is actually a collaboration between Jelly Ellington and the Lagoons. And both those guys are actually touring around right now. They're going to be in town on Monday at Antone's.
I like Jelly Ellington.
Jelly Ellington.
That's a great
I've seen
name.
him before.
You've seen Jelly Ellington
I've seen
before?
Jelly Ellington before.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's pretty. That's good. I don't even know what. That's, you know what?
Yeah.
Hard, you got a different life outside of these walls. So where'd you
I'm
see?
telling you, man.
I know you.
Downtown,
sometimes
man.
I'll run into somebody. Because I say Harsh knows every damn body. I'll run into somebody like, man, you know I used to work with Harsh. I'm like, you used to work with Harsh? How many jobs does this dude have? You know what I mean? Like,
I was
like
out
he's
there,
a
man.
He's a pro ball player.
I've been in the game.
We
Works
know
in medical.
he coached half of the children
Yeah,
in
he's a
Austin.
coach and stuff. Like, okay, it's like okay. It happens to me actually way too much. Not that everybody worked with him. I'm like, oh man, I hung out with Harsh just one time. I'm like, you hung out with Harsh too? Like, where's he get this free time? He's got a family. He got
It's
kids.
really not that free, Doc. It's really not that
Oh
free.
yeah, it's true.
I keep it in movement, man. I keep it in movement.
All right, we're going to talk some Texas baseball. They're keeping it moving, too. Right now, they're up in Stillwater, getting ready for their matchup versus Oklahoma State. Oh, Craig Wade's up there. I've got to text Craig.
Yeah.
Two reasons I need to text Craig. I want to text him, number one, ask him when he fell out of his chair calling the Elite Eight game. So we can play the game about when
yes.
during the broadcast Craig Wade fell off his chair. So that's one reason I got to text him. So I might do that. No, I'll do that later.
No, do it. No, do it.
I don't want to do it.
No, we get him on the show because he's at the ballpark.
I know. I don't
He's
want,
listening right now, by the way.
if he's listening,
you
then
know he's
text
listening.
me, Craig. Text me, hit me up.
Yeah.
But I want to text him about that. And then I'm a little upset with him that he never told me he was in these movies. I worked with Craig for
we can
years.
get all those answers.
And he never told me that he was in multiple movies about cults.
Yep.
And I'm like, what? If I heard that. Anyway, way too much stuff. But still, also, I want to ask him if he went to our favorite fried chicken joint up there.
Yeah.
In Okarche, Oklahoma. It's near that. I don't know exactly where it is. Craig knows where it is.
I think he flew up with the team unless he drove. If he drove.
No, he flies up and sometimes like somebody like Craig's got friends
knows,
everywhere.
Yeah, that's right. He knows
got
everybody.
friends.
He knows everybody.
He's like you, so he'll have like a friend
Wait,
there.
what?
And then and then they'll plan something and plan some lunch or dinner, and then he'll go with them. So I wonder if Craig is going to our favorite. I don't know. I think it's Aishin's Fried Chicken Bar.
I think
in
that sounds about
Oklahoma.
right.
I'll never forget it.
That sounds about right.
It's plastered on my soul because
Yep.
it was some amazing fried chicken. And that Yardbird wasn't seasoned at all. I'm telling you, not seasoned. And I am about my seasoning. You know how black folks are about our seasoning. And it wasn't seasoned. No, it was just juicy.
Yeah, there we go.
Oh, it's amazing Yardbird. Still to this day, think about it. Anyway, obviously. Okay, but those are things I wanted to text Craig Wade about, and I will. But he's up there in Oklahoma getting ready for the Texas Oklahoma State game. We'll have our man Harge break that matchup down for us a little bit, and we'll get into some Texas spring football nuggets here as well. Before we do that, you can always be a part of the show. Specs Text Line's the best way to do it, 512-337-3776. You also can hit us up via Twitter. I'm at Rod Bavis in the Twitterverse. My man Harge at Hardball Harge in the Twitterverse, and Patrick Davis at It's Patrick Davis. We did talk a lot about Major League Baseball opening day. Got into how impressive Megan Thee Stallion was, throwing out the first pitch for the Astros.
Amazing.
Got into the bad luck mojo of having Mark save, play ball. That was his bad mojo. That's why he lost the game.
A lot of people were mad at you yesterday, too, because
What?
you were talking about the streak. Everybody was texting me. They're like, stop him. Stop him.
Oh, they're mad at me. I'm about to say, not mad at the Astros for letting Marky Mark say play ball instead of letting, I don't know, Mattress Mac or J.J. Watt or any of the other Houston-related icons. They let this guy, this East Coast guy do it?
Nope.
You don't think that actually brought
man.
bad mojo on the Astros? I think it
sometimes
was.
that's how it works, man.
Yeah, come on, don't blame me. I'm just up here doing my job. All
Yeah.
right? That guy had no business being in the Astros ceremonial, all right, festivities.
There you go.
There was one thing that wasn't like the other, and it was Marky Mark.
There,
It was like, oh, Megan Thee
100%.
Stallion, that's
Yes.
great. And it's like, and Marky, what the Mark Wahlberg?
That's why we needed Bun B or Paul
Thank
Wall
you.
doing it.
Thank
I
you.
agree.
Come on, man.
I agree.
That's ridiculous. All
I'm
right.
with
Anyway, we talked about all that. We did not talk about this Anthony Rendon story.
Oh, my
Can we
gosh.
talk about that just really quickly before we
Please.
get into these spring
Please.
football nuggets? So I didn't even know this was a thing.
Oh, yeah.
We were just talking about it in the break. So Anthony Rendon had a interaction, a heated interaction with a fan.
With a fan. A fan, as everybody always thinks, just because you pay for a ticket, you feel like you have the right to say and do whatever you want because you purchased the ticket. But one thing that everybody always believes you got the freedom of speech. But they never talk about the reaction that you have to deal with your freedom of speech. So, yes, you are free to say whatever you want, but are you prepared to deal with the smoke afterwards? So yesterday, some fan was talking trash and called him out of his name, and Anthony Rendon saw the fan. And the funny part about the fan in the video,
I love how he remembered how the fan looked.
Well, not only
on his way
that,
out, he remembered. Oh, that's him right there.
That's right. And then the buddy was pushing the fan closer to Rendon.
Hold
like,
on,
hey, get close.
Like the fans, buddy?
Hey, get close.
The fan's friend?
Yes.
Oh, that's stupid.
Yes.
You're an idiot.
Yes.
So, he's trying to get the video, though.
Yeah, he was like.
The video comes from the fan side, so it's somebody, right?
Played a part.
Yes, because they're just trying to be the focal point of attention. But I'm with you. I don't. And the NBA is probably more proactive than any other league.
Very
when it
much
comes
so
to this.
right now.
And some people would say the NBA might be a little too proactive when it comes to kicking out fans who are, I don't know, being openly disrespectful.
Yep.
And sometimes, just dropping offensive terms while disrespecting players. And listen, I know there is a fine line. I do believe the fans should be able to heckle.
Yep.
All right, but what's the line between heckling and essentially being offensive?
Yes.
And crossing the line of being disrespectful and offensive? What is that line? I actually don't know. I know when you start dropping slur, when you start using profanity and then you venture into using stuff that could be considered offensive or slurs, then you definitely have crossed that line. But I guess profanity would be the start of it.
Right.
Because if I'm like dropping MFers on you and talking about, and some people in the NBA, it gets crazy because they talk about your girlfriends and your wife and stuff.
That's the thing.
That should be off limits. That's like, come on, man. Those are mob rules. You don't mess with the family.
That's
between
where
me
you
and
start
you.
going against
Don't be talking about my mama and my wife and my daughter. No, don't go there.
I agree with you 100%. But the one thing that I always say, man, is like, if you were going to talk about it, you got to be about it. And if you're going to be able to deal with, they need to have tough skin when they're dealing. No, they don't. No, they don't. You do not need to go out there and be able to talk. Yes, can you boo? Do that.
But
if you want to do that and say certain things, cool. That's fine. That's fine. But when you start calling people out of their name and then they see you, you got to deal with the repercussions of that. Because if you did it on the street, it would be a totally different story. I was with Mark Henry the other day, and he always talked about the fact, he said, when people always walk up to me and they always like, hey, Mark, and they hit him on the back, that's assault. Like, if he turns around and hit one of them, they trying to sue.
No, because he would.
He say, I don't fight.
He would separate their shoulder.
He said, all of my stuff is not for free anymore. He said, I don't fight for free no more. That's exactly what he said, because now it costs him.
No, it's just because he's so big. People assume, I can, be aggressive or abrasive.
Why are you
so
touching somebody?
No, I agree.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
and I've always said, it's kind of similar to what you said. Obviously, freedom of speech is a bedrock of a free society, right?
Absolutely.
It has to be the bedrock of a free society. And I think for a people, all right, for a group of citizens like us, when we are blessed enough to have free speech, the burden of free speech is for us to be responsible with it.
Right.
And to be responsible with that free speech about how we address each other, how we talk to each other, and knowing how powerful and inflammatory right language can be. We know this. Yep. We act like we don't know, but we know. Because we know we're being passive-aggressive with our significant other. And we know when we drop the way we say something and the way we drop a word here and there, we know, oh, no, it meant something. It comes across a little differently, right?
Exactly.
It's perceived differently. So I think we should just be more responsible with our speech, especially when you're heckling people. You can heckle.
Yeah, you
Well,
can
you're
tell
right.
him you're trash, but
Yeah.
don't call him out his name.
Yeah.
No, and like,
don't say
look,
you
there's a-
MF and trash.
Exactly.
and there's a couple rules. If
Like
I'm
Bill
MF
Burr
you-
said,
you-
there's certain ways you can say
you
certain
MF and
things.
piece of trash. It's different from saying you're trash, heckling. You MF and piece of trash. All right.
Yeah,
now
now
you
we
crossed
got a
the line.
problem.
No,
and,
That's right.
and I'll say,
That's
like,
right.
if I'm gonna watch a game and I know I'm gonna get into it, cause I'll watch it at my house because I understand I can watch it there. Or I'll go to a bar where it's all adults. If I go to a game, I understand there's kids around me. The other people don't want that. I get where I'm at.
Yep.
So
Yep.
I can do this, and they can throw me out because it's a business.
That's
and
true.
freedom of speech dies at the business level. Because I'll tell you what, we can't cuss on the air right now.
No, we
we'll
can't.
get fined. So we can say provocative things.
I can, but as Hart said, I got to deal with the consequences.
You got the freedom
But
of
I'll be-
speech.
I'll be
But when
fine.
you're, but on the other side, when you're trash talking somebody, my rule was always if I'm going to say something in a game or whatever, it's nothing that I wouldn't say if I was playing a one-on-one.
I like that rule.
So
That's
it's
fair.
not something
That's
that I
fair.
can say to them.
That gets competitive.
Yeah, because you're
Yeah.
like, I mean, like you trash talk enough in basketball when
Yeah.
you're playing. You talk, and I was never much of a trash talker. I always talk people up because it threw them off way more. Like I tell them how great they were and stuff. 'Cause it
You're the
really
nice.
threw 'em-
You're the nice.
Oh, yeah.
You're the nice trash
Because I was way
talker.
better at it. I was way better at being funny and can make them laugh and then steal the ball from them than if I tried to talk bad.
That's great.
But like that would be the thing. Is like if I could say this to a guy and say it funny enough and say it in a way that he wouldn't punch me immediately, then I'm fine saying it in a game.
Yep.
But if I want to say something that's literally just to be mean, and there's nothing to it, then I should get beat up because that's what happens when you say things like that.
Yeah, no, that's a great point because, and I don't know about you guys, but I've been in fights before. I've gotten beaten up before. All right, and I
It's
do.
part of the struggle, right?
It is. I think it's just part of it. You know, got in fights, getting beat up. Where I'm from, it happens. I think a lot of people who are in these situations that are, obviously crossing that line we're talking about, they just ain't been beat up.
Right.
I mean, it really, because you understand, like, hey, this could put me in a situation where this confrontation where I can get into a fight.
Agreed.
And if I get into this fight, man, I could get whipped.
Yep.
Like, it could happen. Whether they're smaller than me or whatever, it could just happen. It happens like that. And I just think enough people just ain't had their butt whipped.
Yeah, that's a
It's
lot
just-
of people that
'cause
ain't
you-
got their
you-
butt whipped.
Yeah, you think about things a little differently when you've been in fights and you've lost.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people these days, we've avoided fighting, and you shouldn't be fighting. That's not good. But also, when you don't have any fights, you also never get your butt kicked. If you never get your butt kicked, you view the world differently.
A lot different.
Your mama
talk
tells you
differently.
that you're special
yeah,
every
yeah,
day.
exactly. Yeah, you talk differently. Like, you puff your chest out differently. Nah, you're a lot more humble when you get into these confrontations and responsible with the way you speak to people when you got your butt kicked.
Yep.
It's happened to me before.
It has.
Saying the wrong thing to the wrong person.
Yep.
All right, I thought I was tougher than that. I'm not. All right, that's cool.
Yeah, I know I'm not saying
learned
it
that
to
lesson.
you no
exactly.
more.
I learned
Yeah.
that lesson. So I just think that's partly what's happening with America. We live in a society where, and it's good, we don't get in a lot of fights. People shouldn't be bullied, but we used to stand up to bullies. That's usually part of how you end up fighting because somebody went to bully you and that kind of thing. So I get it, but that's also part of it. You get people like this, these keyboard gangsters,
Yeah.
who now have gone from the keyboards to real life situations and believe that that's how life works. It's like, no,
Yeah.
in life, you might get punched in the face.
Yeah, like-
False sense of hope.
Like we all kept coming up, when you be line stepping, be like, let me see how far I can go.
Yep.
And you're line stepping, and then all of a sudden you're like, that was the line.
Yeah.
I know
That black guy was the line.
I didn't know what the line was.
They taught me very easily where the line was, and now people have just been pushing the line for years.
Yep.
And then they go up against a professional athlete. You're like, that is the wrong guy to be. You are way past that line.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. When I remember, you're a good point about the line stepping. I remember getting in fights for dumb stuff, and then later on learning, like, hey, I diffused that situation. Even if it's somebody I know I can beat up, it doesn't matter. It's not about that. No, I want to diffuse. I'm diffusing.
Because you have matured.
Well, yeah, and I've been in fights before and got whooped. Like, I don't want you to get beat up. I don't
Right.
want to get beat up. So let's
Right.
diffuse this thing and keep
Right.
it moving. So people don't do that enough. Let's try to learn some life lessons here from
Like
the
they
Rendon
say,
situation.
when keeping it real goes wrong.
Yeah, or your mom should say, your mouth writing a check, your butt can't cash.
My grandpa used to tell me that, hey, be careful when you go over there and talking to that boy. I seen him for a while. He good with them hands.
I mean, that's part of it. All right,
Yeah.
let's get to some Texas football spring nuggets here. Some Texas spring football nuggets. A couple of them. Shout out to Inside Texas. Got some of these from Inside Texas. They do a really great job. We have so many. I say this all the time. We really really are lucky. We have like 4 or 5 great organizations, companies that cover Texas football.
Yep.
Makes our job really easy. So shout out to Inside Texas, who will get some of these reports from them. And shout out to my friends over at Horns 24/7, Orange Bloods. They do a really good job too. Yeah, we just got some great organizations. So anyway, while I talk Texas football, I just want to throw that out there. Spring football nuggets. My man Chip Brown had a couple, and so I'll get to those as well. But have you seen the picture that Inside Texas put on their Instagram of Savion Red?
Strong.
Ooh.
Strong.
What has he been doing this offseason?
He was he
don't
motivated.
look
They told him he gonna play running back, so he said, okay.
Yeah, he's
Here we go.
Yeah, he looks different, ladies and gentlemen. He does. I mean, so I think he put on some muscle mass to deal with the wear and tear of playing the running back position, but there's a physical transformation happening with him. And I wasn't sure that he was a guy that could be a versatile weapon.
Mm-hmm.
I know people have thrown out there, oh, could he be a Deebo Samuel type weapon for Texas? I don't think a Deebo Samuel really exists. I don't think it exists anywhere. I think he's like one of those ultimate unicorns. But just looking for position flex and guys who can bring versatility to the offense, he's definitely that guy. Like I said, I hate to bring up the Deebo Samuel thing because, I mean, he's the best positionless offensive player in football.
Yeah.
You can't just be comparing everybody to Deebo Samuel. It's a
can't.
little disrespectful.
It goes back to everybody. Everybody's looking for a comp, right?
Exactly.
Everybody's always has to be compared to somebody.
Yeah.
And it's like, can he just be Savion Red?
Exactly. Savion Red, who's a position flex guy.
Yes.
And I think he can.
Talented guy.
Yeah, I think he can and will be that. And by the way, he's been getting glowing reviews. First of all, to Short Choice, I saw Jerry Hamilton talking about how to Short Choice had a lot of praise for Savion Red. Jerry Hamilton also talked about his footwork is really good for a guy switching from wide receiver to running back. And I know he was actually running, 3rd and 4th string running back. But even Alex Dunlap over at Orange Bloods mentioned that Savion Red made a lot of plays with the 3rd team offense in the open scrimmage last weekend.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of talk. Man, I got to tell you, out of all the players in spring, he's top 3 to 4 right now in terms of getting the most buzz this spring football.
On the offensive side of the ball,
he's
absolutely.
exactly, on offense. Yeah.
On the offensive side of the ball, absolutely. And every time we've heard something about him and talked to some of the people that have been around the University of Texas during that time, everyone keeps saying, he pops.
Yeah.
He pops.
Agreed.
You know what I'm saying?
Agreed.
Like, he pops. And it was like, okay. And that's something, too. That's why he was so frustrated on the sideline a couple times, especially against Oklahoma State. He was sitting there trying to figure out why we're not trying to get him the ball.
I remember that.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It was an intense conversation on that sideline.
Between him and Marion, right?
Yes.
I remember that.
Yeah.
That was strange. I remember we never got to the bottom of it really, but
No.
I think you might have hit the nail on the head. He's like, hey man, I can make some
help
plays out of
us.
it. Yeah.
I can help us.
Our passing game is struggling.
Yes.
I can help.
Give me the ball. Give me the ball.
For my man Chip Brown over at Horns 24/7, I was doing a good job. He had his insider report. Got a couple of different sources. He piecemealed some stuff together. One of his sources says Colton Vasek will end up being really good as an edge rusher.
Mm-hmm.
He just needs to add muscle. Right now, I just think they believe he's kind of skinny. And he is. He's still a baby.
He's coming out of high school.
Yeah.
Man, that's a different weight program. Not taking anything away from what Westlake does. We hear about some of their workouts and what they're able to do, but you know as well as I do, you were strong in high school. You get to college, you're not as strong as you think you are. And then they get you on that different weight program, and then you got to see your strength. So once he gets that strength going and that lean, he's going to be just fine.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that too. And there is I'm not saying a void, but there's an opening.
Yep.
At that defensive end position opposite Barron Sorrell. Also, my man Chip Brown throwing out little updates about the running back position. Jaden Blue, his sources say, better than I thought he'd be. Also, C.J. Baxter will be good once he has some more time in the system. Remember, Sark also remarked that C.J. Baxter was one of these standout early enrollees for Texas. And, I mean, starting running back right now, I think it's projected to be Jonathan Brooks, but Texas won't just have one guy carrying the workhorse running back.
Cannot.
It'll be a committee of sorts.
By committee, for sure.
So
there's a big void to fill for the two guys that left. So you're going to have to find multiple people to try to give you what those guys gave you last year.
Yeah. And
somebody can emerge.
You're right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
As
you're
the
right about
season
that.
goes on, somebody can emerge, but coming out of the blocks, you're going to need multiple people to try to equal what we saw from those guys.
Totally agree with you. And, I'm hoping somebody emerges. But even when you had Bijan, the best running back in the country, you still used a ton of Rojo.
Exactly.
And I think that was a smart move by Sark. So he gets into some QB updates here. Say Quinn Ewers is looking good. Nothing spectacular, but no big mistakes. Say he's just kind of been consistent. That's what that to me, that even though that's not sexy, that's not a really blockbuster headline. No big mistakes shows me maybe you're getting consistency.
Yep.
The problem with young players is their baseline, right? They don't have one.
Right.
You're always searching for that baseline, where baseline is the consistency of performance and productivity. And young players, they're like on a roller coaster. Sometimes they hit their ceiling, or at least they tap it for a little while and flash, and then they show you what potential they have. And then you also get those performances where they bottom out, where the basement is still really deep, but the ceiling is really high. What you want to do is, as a player, what you want to do is uplift your basement.
Right,
You want
right.
to improve your floor so that your floor is not so deep. And that's all about your baseline of performance. And right now for Quinn Ewers, that's what you're looking for. Because last year, that's what we saw, right? Oklahoma,
Yep.
Alabama first quarter, amazing. And then you get to those performances like Oklahoma State, like, oh man, that looked like he was struggling a little bit. Then you get to or Baylor performance, like, oh, he's struggling, or TCU. But then you get to the Washington game, and it looked like he was a little bit more consistent.
Yep.
That's what you want. Baseline of consistency from your young guys.
That's the biggest thing that you want from those guys.
Yeah, so hopefully that's what you're getting. He's also said quarterbacks Malik Murphy and Arch Manning did okay. Also said his second-team offensive line looked like they gave up some pressures. That second team, listen, really the first rotation, I don't know what it's going to be, 7, 8 players on the offensive line. I expect that group to be really one of the strengths of the team. You start looking at, you return the entire starting offensive line, and then I'm hearing guys like Cam Williams is stepping up. He's a 6'5", 360-something offensive tackle. And Sark said that he is making a push
Yep.
for a spot in the top 5. And you hear Neto, who, if I say his last name, I'm going to screw it up, so I don't even want to disrespect the man like that. But he's cross-training at guard and tackle, and that's a guy that they're talking a lot about too. And they want him to compete at that guard spot along with guys like Hayden Connor. So in addition to your 5 you got coming back, I think you should expect DJ Campbell.
Yep.
All about him.
Don't do that.
Exactly. Like there's a lot of people think he's going to win that right guard spot before it's all said and done.
Yep.
And so, man, that rotation should be 8.
Yeah.
You should be 8 deep in terms of you feel like guys who can give you starting reps,
Yeah.
and you can just take your best 5.
I like that. I like that. Take your best 5, and the fact now that we can look at this team and say, all right, we can actually have a spring game because you provided so much depth. The names that you just gave us have now emerged. So when they're going on April 15th and we're getting a chance to watch these guys go, they're going to be able to show up, and fans are going to be able to see the growth that a lot of these guys have now shown in the practices.
Speaking of the practices, apparently in that last scrimmage, a lot of praise for the wide receivers, apparently, according to my man Chip Brown. Says Xavier Worthy had a long TD catch, but he also had a couple of drops.
Come on, man. He's still trying to get his hand right.
That's right.
I mean, come on, man.
Still getting it right. Got to get that. You got to strengthen that hand.
Yeah, that's all it is.
Got to strengthen that hand.
Yeah,
got
to walk around with those strength
those
balls.
grip.
Grip balls.
You're right. I remember those. Yeah.
Yep.
Also, A.D. Mitchell, they said is playing really well and looking good, and Jonte Cook and DeAndre Moore. So he's saying that they will rotate receivers this year because they got 4 guys that they believe, at least with that group of receivers, that can really make a difference, really be impactful. And that's considered the outside receivers pretty much. Jay Witt has it locked down, but he is the slot wide receiver.
I mean, he better be.
Yeah. And they say Isaiah Nair didn't take part in the scrimmage. I think he's still recovering.
Still dealing with some stuff.
Yeah, so wide receivers look good, man. They could be a strength of the team. And the defensive line, no surprise there. Also got a lot of praise from man Chip Brown in his insider report saying if they had to pick a standout on defense, it'd be the entire defensive line.
Talk about it.
Say it
That's
wouldn't
what we've been saying
yeah.
for a while.
Say it wouldn't shock me if Byron Murphy, Tavondre Sweat have the same kind of years as Moro Ojimo and Keandre Colburn
Love it.
last year. I like that.
That's huge because we already know that the trenches are where everybody gets down. Right?
Damn
Like
right.
that's where everything starts and finishes. If your trenches are good, you got an opportunity to do some amazing things. If you're not good on either the offensive or defensive line, it's definitely going to be a long season.
True that.
Yeah.
All right, what you got coming up for the people on Hard Knock Life?
I'm going to talk a little bit since tonight is opening night for
right.
the minor leaguers, Round Rock Express.
Shout out.
I want to talk about something that I dealt with the entire time as a professional baseball player. It's not always the glory that everybody thinks it is, but I want to talk about how the financial gain has now helped some of these guys where they're not having to work as hard during the offseason.
Little straight cash, homie.
Yes, sir.
Finally.
Finally.
We'll talk about that coming up. Hard Knock Life right here on Ball Don't Lie on 104.9 The Horn. Hey, what's up, folks? Lifetime Longhorn, Rod Babers here. If time is money, well, my friends at App Leasing, they're in the business of saving you both. They do it really well, too. They have the ability to put you in any make or model vehicle that you want. The professionals over at Apple Leasing can help you get the price you want, the payment you want on the car that you want. And all it takes is one simple phone call or one click on Apple Leasing's website, and you'll get a quote on any make or model vehicle that you want. They can even give you an estimate on the value of your trade-in right over the phone. Now, the car market these days, it is a labyrinth, people. It is really confusing, and right now I can tell you I've actually ventured into the car market. It can be a little frustrating, but that's why Apple Leasing is here. They're on your side. They have your best interest at heart. I can tell you right now, my friends at Apple Leasing, they can help you find the deal that right now will help you get the car that you want. And Apple Leasing has what they call a simple interest easy lease. All right, it allows them to have a lot more flexibility, which is going to give you more possibilities and options to help you find the vehicle that fits you best, but more importantly, the vehicle that fits your budget best. Inflation is out of control. It's through the roof. We all know it's never been more expensive to buy a new car, buy a used car, buy anything for that matter. That's why leasing actually makes more sense than ever. You're only paying for the part of the car you're actually using. So call Apple Leasing right now, 512-346-9977. That's 512-346-9977. And let them see how much money they can save you. They get all the same discounts. They get all the same incentives that the dealers do, except my friends at Apple Leasing, they pass those savings on to you, the customer. So give them a call, 512-346-9977, or visit appleleasing.com. That's appleleasing.com.
Welcome back to a 512 Friday edition of Ball Don't Lie. That's where my man Patrick Davis gives you a lot of local artists and where they'll be performing this weekend. Patrick does a great job with that. And you can follow me at Hardball Harge, at Hardball Harge. You can follow my man Rob Babers at Rob Babers. And, of course, you can follow the man behind the glass at It's Patrick Davis. We also love it when you're a part of the show. So hit us up on the Specs text line, 512-337-3776. And I want to talk a little bit about this because we've been talking a lot about the baseball season. And, by the way, Texas Longhorn baseball can be heard right here on 104.9 starting at 5:45. Our man Craig Way is up in Oklahoma State, Stillwater, and he'll be bringing you all the action. Also, I want to shout out to the women, the softball team. They are playing at OU this weekend, and they'll be heard on 1260. If I'm
105.3 The Bat.
Oh, 105.3 The Bat. Sorry about that. 105.3 The Bat. So make sure you tune in and check them ladies out as they continue on their hot road. But they're playing against the number one team in the nation, the Oklahoma Sooners. But as I was talking about, Major League Baseball started their season yesterday. Minor leagues are going to start their season today. I'll be out at the Round Rock Express tonight checking out the Express as they take on the Isotopes. But one of the things that have happened that happened yesterday, as a matter of fact, that minor league baseball and Major League Baseball struck a deal, a tentative deal on Wednesday on the first collective bargaining agreement between the sides. Remember, a few years ago there was a lawsuit that was filed because it was an antitrust lawsuit because the minor league system they've been underpaid for a long, long time. For a very long time. And for somebody that played minor league baseball for a very long time, I know what it's about. I was fortunate enough. I was drafted pretty high. So my contract was set up a lot different than others. But my best friend, Tyrone Horn, who ended up hitting for a home run cycle, his contract was not set up the same way that mine was. And that's very unfortunate because he was a very talented player, and he had to wait till his free agency year at year 6 where he really started to make some money. And, again, that's very unfortunate, not only because of the talent that he was, but just because of the wages that we were making at the very beginning. There was my very first contract, aside from my signing bonus, I was making $800 a month. And $800 a month as a professional athlete.
And they paid for
nothing.
They paid for everything.
They paid for nothing. You were still getting docked money because of the living arrangements that were prior made, right?
Man, it's crazy.
So it was a very bad situation, especially for those that are not coming from a lot of money during that time. And, again, going back to the NIL deal, your boy would have been here if I'd have known all that stuff. But as you started to look at it, and during those times, I ended up being on the Major League roster, and things changed after that point. But if I wasn't ever on that roster, things would have been different.
You'd have stayed in terms of your status as a minor
leaguer player, yes.
And none of the other stuff kicks in.
And none of the privileges and all the other things.
Okay.
Exactly. The medical insurance throughout the time. And so all these different things that as a young player you're not thinking of.
Yeah.
So now the minor leaguers and the major leaguers have now agreed on a bunch of different things. So here's the biggest thing for me. As a complex league player, and this is per year now. This is per year, not per month.
Yep.
This is per year. It went from $4,800, again, per year.
Per year.
Thank you.
That's
think about that.
It can't right now. I can't fathom.
You can't even fathom. Exactly. And you're playing a sport where you see the money. So when I'll get into it in a minute. But the very first year, it's a complex year. That's the rookie ball. That's extended spring training. That's the bare minimum, the minor league. It went from $4,800 to $19,800.
Okay.
So that's a huge increase. That's outstanding. That is outstanding. Then you look at single A, $11,000 to $26,000 now. High A, single A, high A, $11,000 $27,300. From Double A, you went from $13,800 to now you're making $30,250. Triple A now you are making from $17,500. Now you're making $35,000. So that's a huge increase, and it changes your way of living. And now it's not only from, because also people don't understand this. You go to spring training as a non-major league player, you're not getting paid stipends. You're not getting paid all this money, right? So you're getting paid. They'll pay for your meals. They'll pay for your food for lunch, and they'll have dinner for you at the complex. But outside of that, you're not getting anything. You're not getting nothing. So now they've all changed that as well. So now you're starting to make money. Now they're giving you money from March all the way until Thanksgiving now.
Okay.
Season's over. You've already got it. Everything's done. Now it is so you're making a decent living now.
Yeah, at least it's a livable wage.
A livable wage. Not only that, are you having a livable wage, now you're not having to go and do all these other odd jobs to try to make ends meet. And think about some of the people that they get married when they're in college sometimes, and as soon as they get out, and by the time they get out, you're trying to chase your dreams, but your wife is like, say, dog,
hey, we got
bills is due.
Bills.
Yeah, exactly. And you think you're going to live this lavish lifestyle. And they used to tell us in the very beginning, they were like, the reason why we're not paying you guys all this money is because we want you hungry. I'm like, literally? Or are you trying to, like, because I'm starving over here, bro. I'm famished. I'm famished out here. So it has been a really getting after it. And I was fortunate enough, as I said, I was on the other side of it to where I was drafted high, so I had a little cash there, but then I was also on a major league roster. So my negotiation tactics were a little bit different compared to some of those other guys that were trying to fight their way up. But I also ended up having to go play independent ball because I ended up getting hurt and teams didn't want to take a chance. So I had to go prove myself again. So my negotiation for independent ball was different because back then, because we talked to Brandon Phillips when he came in here, former major leaguer that bought an independent team. And was a player during that time, the finances were totally different. So they couldn't pay a big name guy to come and play for them because he would eat up all the money, almost like NFL. The wages is like, well, you're paying that guy all that money. He's on your team, but your team ain't winning. So you got to try to balance it out. So there were always little things. You hit a home run, you make your appearances, doing all this stuff. There was a lot of incentives that were there. But it's so much better now for these kids and these young players that are chasing their dreams where they're not really trying to struggle. Because there were times when I was living with people, we had 4 and 5 people living in a house. And it wasn't even a big enough house for all of us. We had roommates, and it was me. That's why me and my boy Tyrone are so close because we played every level together, and we lived together every step of the way.
That's wild.
No matter what team we went to, we were roommates, and we were on the same team, and that is very rare.
That is
very rare in this game, and it's entertaining to me. I love the game of baseball. I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world. I've made a ton of friends. I've got a ton of connections. I stay in the game. I'm still involved in the game. But finally, the people in the minors are getting their just fruits. I mean, it's not even – I mean, you know, we're talking about these numbers, but they're still not great numbers.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's not like they can just, honestly, just be minor league baseball players and focus on that. Most of these guys still got to
get a
grind
job,
and get another job.
Teach lessons, coach, select teams during the fall.
They got to be hustle men in the offseason.
They got to go be hustlers. Yeah. And that's the thing that now they don't have to hustle near as hard. Yep. And they can still have time for their regular lives. But I'm here to tell you, there were times where your boy was struggling. There was times where my man, I told you, my boy hit a solo 2-run, 3-run, and a grand slam in one game in San Antonio. And he didn't want to play that day. He didn't want to go eat because he ran out of his meal money because of our road trip because we went out the night before.
Okay.
But I had enough money that I was like, hey, dog,
I got
you going to eat. I'm telling you that right now. We finna eat, bro. Don't worry about
Might
that.
be dollar menu,
Yeah, but we
gonna
finna
eat.
That's right. That's right. And there were many times where I've seen other guys, too, that were just like, hey, can we go to the field now? Because I want to have the meal. Because we got to still pay clubhouse dues. And you get a chance to eat what the clubby gets you.
Yep.
But sometimes that's not enough either. I did an interview with Joel Klatt, who, by the way, was a minor league baseball player before he came back to play quarterback at Colorado. We had a conversation one day, and he said, I went and had my uniform on. I talked to the clubby. I said, hey, can you go get us where's the spread for pregame? He's like, we're out of it. Your guys have already ate it. Joel and I've done this too. We stood in line in the concession stand before the game to get food from the concession workers. And I always had a couple friends that worked there.
Hey, you know what? Yeah, no doubt.
And she was always nice.
Hey,
you know what I'm saying?
friends with benefits?
Hey, yeah. Food benefits. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, dude, food benefits
Are
sometimes
the
are better
best.
than sex benefits.
Exactly.
When you're
1,000%.
when you're broke, and I've been broke a couple of times in my life.
I've been broke plenty.
Oh man, when
Yeah.
you end up with a friends with benefits who works at like the Chili's, and then she'll hook you up with
Yeah.
also some free meals when she comes over for
Oh,
the
yeah.
benefits.
Yeah.
Oh man, you be close to trying to marry that girl
Yeah,
at
I'm
one
like,
time.
damn, you doing good, girl.
You head over
doing
heels,
good. Yeah.
exactly. No,
I'm
trust
like,
me.
you the best.
Yeah. Oh, women do it
You
with
like
men all the
DJ
time.
Khaled.
Yeah, women do it with men all the time. You're
Oh,
a free
yeah.
meal.
Oh,
so
yeah.
y'all may have some benefits, have some fun. Y'all Netflix and chill. But
Yeah.
you also.
I need you to order that pizza. I need you to order that pizza.
I need you to order that thing. You say you gonna get it to go? Yeah, but get to it.
Yeah,
one for
get
me
two
too.
of them. That's right. That's right. So I'm happy for these guys to actually get this opportunity. I'm glad that Major League Baseball has looked at the minor league system as somebody that is a feeder and not somebody that's just down there. I had to go through the grind. I had to do that. I remember the very first strike I was a part of, and I'm sitting there listening. I'm in all these union meetings, and I'm looking at these dudes, and I'm like, bro, you just pulled up in a Lamborghini, bro.
Come on, man.
And I'm sitting here trying to figure out if I'm going to get soup and a sandwich at spring training.
I can't
And
have
you talk about, nah, man, we're going to tough this out. We're going to sit this thing out because you guys, we're doing this for you. And I'm like, I get it. Now after I look back at it and I saw what these guys are now starting to get, and it's the same thing. Kenny Sims tells me all the time about the time that he's got to deal with that.
Mm-hmm.
When he was, dealing with the strike as the guy that was a number 1 overall pick, and you going through all this stuff and what these guys got after him because he sacrificed.
No doubt.
It's a totally
That's why people
different
want Lamar
conversation.
Jackson to essentially sacrifice his potential future earnings.
100%.
Because they're saying, hey, man, somebody's got to draw the line. If somebody doesn't
Exactly.
draw the line, then the future
get it.
generations are going to lose out because
Exactly.
everybody can't do it.
100%.
She's like, I can do it.
I can do it.
I'm going to be all right in the end, but some of y'all are never going to be okay.
You're never gonna get
if
to this
we
point.
don't at one point try to change the system. We got
Exactly.
to change it.
Exactly.
And so I'm with you, man. I know some guys who have, essentially made their livelihood as minor league baseball players.
Yep.
It is tough.
It's real hard, bro. It's real
tough.
hard.
It's tough.
Tell me. I've been through it. I went through it.
Yeah,
I
it's tough.
played at a very high level, but I also went through that point where I got released, I got re-signed, I got traded, I got sent to another team. I had to go play independent ball twice because I had to go and reinvent myself because of the struggle. And then I got signed back again. And it was like, a lot of guys don't get those opportunities. I've had opportunities to go overseas and play. Some of my best friends have gone over to Japan and made a ton of money. And they said, I will never want to come back to the United States to play because over there
you were
I
valued.
made money.
He was valued.
Exactly.
You were valued, yeah.
Exactly. So there's so much that had gone through it, but I'm thankful that a lot of these guys now, I mean, you're at AAA, you're making at least $35K. You're not having to stay with other people.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? You can have your own place. You can have your own.
You can have a
time.
life.
You can have a life.
It's not. I mean,
Yeah, you can have a
everybody
life.
wants to devote themselves to their craft.
No
but
doubt.
You want to have a life too, and be able to actually, have, because they said all these guys have families.
Exactly.
You're going to be able to help support your wife and support your kids, that kind of stuff too. Because it's a hard life for them to follow you.
Yep.
Or to try to be near you
man.
when you're a minor league baseball player.
Exactly.
Because it's
like you can come up, but you're going to pay for yourself, girl. Man, you come see me, but you're paying for yourself at this point.
No doubt.
You got to let your boy get to the next level before I start paying for it.
Love this texter. Good friend of mine from high school worked at Sonic. Friend, in quotes, with food benefits.
Yeah.
Ain't a bad arrangement at all. No, nothing wrong with that at all. I think we've all been there before. Nothing wrong with
Exactly.
that. All right, we come back. You know what? Nothing wrong with adding strippers to the entertainment package at your local NBA game. We'll discuss this coming up on Off the Record right here on Ball Don't Lie, 104.9 The Horn. Hey, what's up, folks? Lifetime Longhorn Rod Babers here. Let me tell you about my favorite go-to tequila. It is Hot Cat Tequila. That's right, folks. You know what that means. That means the weekend is upon us. And how I get the weekend started? I do it with a little Hot Cat Tequila. The cat stands for cinnamon, agave, and tequila, and the recipe just as simple, brilliant, and delicious. It's just cinnamon, agave, nectar, and tequila. That's why it's so light. That's why it's so smooth. It's a tequila lover's dream. And if you're not a fan of tequila, well, Hot Cat Tequila will turn you into a fan of tequila. It'll turn any event into a party, and every party feels like a celebration. So celebrate and turn up with Hot Cat Tequila. As a matter of fact, this weekend, I will be enjoying some Hot Cat Tequila, because once you try Hot Cat, you won't go back to that old cinnamon whiskey or that cheap tequila you were ordering rounds of when you were just trying to get the party started. So turn up your party with Hot Cat Tequila. It's the perfect way to pregame for any big game, festivals, or a night on the town with family and friends. Best served cold for a quick round of shots or to sip on the rocks. So visit cattequila.com. That's cattequila.com to find a store near you that sells Hot Cat Tequila, or to find a bar near you that serves Hot Cat Tequila. Toast and turn up with Hot Cat Tequila. All right, welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. All right, this next story is being reported by a local news in Chicago. I'll give you the local news here in a second, so I'll make sure I give them props. I'll give it to you after we hear the clip. But I don't need to set it up for you because it's all self-contained, and it is one of the greatest sports stories of 2023. Enjoy.
Off the court action spotted at the Bulls game.
Yeah, that's putting it politely. The people who rented the suite say a stripper was there for fun and they weren't trying to offend anyone. There were more than just balls bouncing at the United Center.
What you think I'm cheating? Baggy clothes with your bows, let's make the world.
This video from inside a 200-level suite has gone viral.
This is what we really do.
The stripper in the video really did it. Splits, twerking, you name it. So spicy, we can't show it to you.
I hear you like strippers, and it was your idea to bring a stripper on. Is that correct?
Yeah.
A stripper to entertain guests for Jazzy's 32nd birthday. The Chicagoan says she always does it big for her birthday.
We all like family and friends. We're very close. We all been friends for 10 years plus. So we very close, but we just party. When we be together, we have a good time.
Alongside her, Marcus, her friend, that serves as the designated money thrower and the party planner.
The fans was holding their hands up. That was others.
Catching money from Marcus.
Yeah.
While the Bulls took on the Lake Show at the UC, the stripper put on a show for all to see.
Play with one of them G's, you gon' see 100 joints.
The United Center issuing a statement saying, we are aware of the video from last night's game. This is a clear violation of our fan code of conduct and premium seating decorum. We do not condone this behavior and have taken appropriate steps to address the matter. The renters of the suite tell me they were not kicked out and will always keep the party going.
If people got to make it all blown out of proportion and all that, man, they just never live, man.
I guess I've never lived then.
I'm with you.
That is the best part of the whole clip is the end. I guess they just never lived then. Yes. Amen, brother. They have never lived. Gentlemen, first of all, it was Fox 32 in Chicago. God bless these ladies. They should win an award.
Great work.
They should win an award for this story. It is fantastic. The presentation.
Whoever edited that together.
Oh. This is great, right?
Just amazing.
The little clips of like the actual strip club music they put in there.
That is outstanding.
It really was. They knew they were going to go viral. They were like, guys, if we play it right, we're going viral with this one.
This is what we need. This is what we need.
All right, now I need to know how you guys feel about the actual situation of bringing your own strippers to a basketball arena when you have suite access. Is this something you think should become normal? Should this something that they should? No.
It's a family-friendly event.
Oh, come
That's
on.
like taking it to a restaurant. If you want to go to somewhere that's 21 and up, have fun. But if you want to go to somewhere where there's children, you should not be doing this.
All right,
They
that's
set
fair.
the rules.
I'm just mad that the name of the stripper was Jazzy, and that's my daughter's name.
I think that.
I'm like, that made me mad right
I
there.
think they were celebrating Jazzy's birthday.
Well, I mean, I celebrated her birthday too, but we didn't have them come to the arc party.
Also,
This
yeah,
Jazzy
I'm not
likes
thrilled
strippers.
because Jazzy's 32 and he's got enough money to get a suite, which I can't
Hey.
afford, and bring strippers, which
That's
I
what
can't afford.
Exactly. I'm like, whoa, they balling, by the way. Are
Yeah,
they
they're
rappers?
drug
Yeah, they
dealers.
are.
Those
Well,
are drug dealers.
No, they balling.
They are rappers.
They're doing
They're
something.
rappers.
They are
Jazzy
rappers.
ain't got no tracks out.
Maybe, hey, you know what? Maybe they're in the tech world. We don't know. They could be in the tech world. Wilding out
Exactly.
Yeah,
like
you're right.
crazy.
He might be
Jazzy's
in-
doing some code.
He's in charge of the
They
software.
might be programmers. I have no idea, but yeah, you're right. Someone said they should install curtains. They should, because Patrick's point is a valid one about the kids. I agree. I don't want kids being exposed to it if they don't have to. And if you bring your kids to a game, you shouldn't have to worry about that. So curtains, so we can have the ladies. They can be dressed. They can be dressed until they get to the actual suite, and then we can get the party started. Curtains. I don't give a damn about watching the game anymore. I got TVs in the suite.
Was
and
it?
let's
Is
get it
it?
popping.
Is it Skydome? Is that the one that has a hotel
No, yeah,
attached
that's
to
the-
it?
yes,
And
yes.
that one they'll get in trouble
Toronto.
because people go up to the hotel rooms and do stuff in there up against the
They
windows.
definitely get it popping
That's
Yeah.
wild.
in there.
So
That's
they'll do it there,
pretty
but it's in Canada,
and
so they
I
don't care
promise
up there.
you, they lived. You know what I'm saying? They lived.
Can we make that a drop on the show? I guess they just haven't lived it. Oh, that is brilliant. Guys, that's what I'm saying. That's why we talk about strippers a lot, because unless you're hanging out with strippers, you haven't lived, apparently. We've
There's
all...
so much money that guy had to spend in one night. They
That's
had
true.
a designated.
He had it, though.
He was a party planner and money thrower. Is that on the business card?
Yes.
That's the in-depth reporting. She found out who the money thrower was. He was designated to make it rain. I love
That's a
these
great
people,
point.
and I want them at every Chicago Bulls game.
Hey,
I want them there. This is what I wish
was
I
that
could have done.
sponsored by Blue Chew?
No, there you go. There you go. If I was still, you know what? If I was rich and famous, I would be upset with myself for not doing this first.
Well, you couldn't have been a minor league baseball player because you wouldn't have been able to do that.
You be making it rain, making it drizzle.
Oh man, you be hitting her
making it
with
drizzle.
pennies.
Well, she be hurting.
She'd be like, "Why is this a hailstorm?"
You be picking up those dollars.
Yeah, oh, you're right. You would be picking up them dollars. All right, good job there, Patrick, for editing the audio for us. All right, we come back. We'll get into a little in NFL news, notes, and nuggets. There's some pro days we got to get into. Mike McCarthy sitting Dak down to talk about them picks.
Come on, man.
Also, a former Dallas Cowboy heading into another team. We'll get into that. All of that and more right here on Ball Don't Lie. Wonderful Horn. Hey, what's up, folks? Lifestyle Longhorn Rod Babers here. Let me tell you about the best happy hour in the city because it is at Twin Peaks. At your local Twin Peaks, folks, from 2 to 7, Monday through Friday, you can enjoy, like I said, best happy hour in the city, especially if you're a baller on a budget like me. You got $1 off all wine, liquor, cheap shots, and freezing cold 29-degree draft brews. My favorite way to get the Twin Peaks experience started is with that 29-degree draft brew. It's Bud Light for me, but for you, be whatever beer of choice that you choose. And trust me, it is extremely refreshing. Nothing like that ice cold mug. And if you're feeling a bit peckish, a little hungry, you can always enjoy select appetizers available for $2, $4, and $6. And if you're a bit of a night owl, you like those late night eats, don't forget about Twin Peaks during those late night hours. They have great late night specials as well. $2 chips and salsa, $4 fried pickles, chips and queso, mozzarella, cheese bites. Also $6 triple plays, quesadillas, or 6 boneless wings. That's what happy hour is all about at your local Twin Peaks. Also the scratch menu. I love the menu. Every delicious dish on the menu made from scratch. So if you're thinking about a new favorite spot for lunch, dinner, all those late night eats, don't forget about your local Twin Peaks. There's one near you, the Sassy location, the Round Rock location, or the San Marcos location. Go to TwinPeaksRestaurant.com to find out what's happening at your local Twin Peaks. That's Twin Peaks, Eats, Drinks, and Scenic Views. All right, welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. 512 Friday edition of Ball Don't Lie. We play jams from very talented human beings, very talented artists and bands that you can catch live right here in the live music capital of the world. Who we jamming right now, Patrick?
This is Saucer, and they are playing tonight at Come and Take It Live, and I will be out there hanging out.
Hey, you going to Come and Take It Live?
I'm going to go over to Come and Take It Live.
Exactly where that is. Actually, I saw my man Patrick out there. He had to host an event out there. That's the first time. That's not the first time I went out there, but it was like going the second or third time I've gone out there. But I've gone out there a few times, considering how I'm an old man now and I don't go out to a lot of places. So appreciate that, Patrick. Also, if you missed any of these suggestions for 512 Friday, please go hornfm.com. And man, Patrick puts them up there for you. I like this texter. We're talking about the Chicago Bulls fans having strippers that they invited to their suites to perform, to make it rain in the suite. Freak Nasty ATX says CDC needs to add that to the Texas suites at DKR and Dishfalk. The mood. Ye's right about that. He said the recruits will be like, where do I sign? You damn right they would. And yes, we'll have curtains for the kids. Curtains for the kids. Yeah, we got curtains for the kids. I don't want the kids to see all that, all right? Too early for them to know what it means to make it rain.
Pay all that money for a suite and then close it to do something you could do at your own house.
Nobody wants to invite strippers to their house. That's no fun. Right? Well, how fun is it? Who invites strippers to that? That's not fun.
I just don't get, if you're going to spend that amount of money for a suite, it seems like I'd want to watch the game, but that's just me.
Oh, yeah, because you're a true basketball fan.
Yeah, I'd want to watch. I'm not going to go to the game.
What you learn about people in sweet people, because I've hung out with sweet people.
I'm aware. I'm aware of
yeah,
I watched
football with them and DK are the sweet people, and I've been, in some other, I've been lucky enough to be with some of these people. They're not, the game is secondary.
No, believe me, I got a cool chance to watch a game in a suite with Darrell Royal, and I was the only one who was in the suite not being like freaking out because I'm with Darrell Royal and listening to what he has to say. Everybody else like, hey, what's going on? And it was like, it's Darrell Royal. It's the game's right here.
That is amazing. Yeah. Is that wow?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
I have a friend who's related to him, so it was
still though, man.
So we were up there. It was there with the family.
Still, the presence.
Yes. I like
legend.
It.
That's all. See, Larson knew about my man Patrick every day too. Did not know they had hung out like basically with Daryl K. Roy, the late great Daryl K. Roy, for a little while.
Yep.
That's awesome, man. I got to hear more about that story later on. I need some details, but I digress. Let's get back to it. Spec Text line wide open for you. 512-337-3776. Honda guy says Kansas did that with Snoop years ago.
That's
Trendsetters.
Right. That's right. Remember, because he got in trouble.
Yeah, when they were going to put the sanctions on it. Yeah,
right. Was he? Did we ever?
It doesn't matter. It's so arbitrary to the point that they were getting sanctions.
Did we ever find out if it was fake or real money?
I have no idea.
I think they said it was fake, but I think they said it was fake because they didn't want it to be an NCAA violation.
Yeah. Oh, that's fake money. It's fake money.
Why are the students diving on the ground for it?
The strippers are real.
The strippers are real.
Yeah, they was.
That's all that counts. Someone said Patino did it. Okay.
Man, that doesn't do much. And they said we got a suite for an 8U team for tomorrow's Express game. Watch out.
All right, come on. Let's make it happen. All right. We used to call it the flower shop.
There it is.
Go over there and hang out with some of the ladies from the flower shop.
Say hello.
Okay, let's get to some Cowboys discussion. Hey, before we get out of here, Raj, around the day, I want to talk about something Sugg brought up yesterday. I did some deep diving. He had a comment about deep passes yesterday, how his offense, in order for his offense to function at his highest level, it's necessary for them to be effective at hitting those deep shots. I have some numbers on how effective Texas has been hitting those deep shots. So doing some deep diving about what Texas' offensive identity is going to be, what it's going to look like. So I'll share some of those numbers, some of that research with you before we get out of here. All right, first let's get into some Cowboys discussion. So did you hear, Harge, you're the Cowboys fan here. Did you hear why Jerry Jones and the Cowboys front office did not offer Zeke a pay cut, the opportunity to take a pay cut before they cut him?
Because they felt like it was disrespectful.
Yes. Yeah. That is it. They said essentially, he said the last thing we want to do, this is from Jerry Jones, the last thing we want to do is do anything that would be insulting to a player, to a great player like Zeke, who was one of the best players to ever put on a Cowboys uniform.
Emmitt Smith just entered the chat.
Jones said it was best to let the market reveal a declining player's worth than for the team to do it.
So you just basically disrespected him by saying all of that right there. Let the market dictate what a declining player's worth is.
That's just truth, though.
Understood.
Yeah.
But don't try to come out here. We felt like it would be disrespectful to ask him to take a pay cut as I just go out there and slam him by telling him, you're a declining player. I'm not paying you.
That is true. That's a bit of a, it's a bit of a backhanded compliment, I guess.
He went all the way Doc Holliday on him.
Do you think they were surprised as we were when we read that report that he had picked his final 3 teams? Like, I guess there is a market for him. And they're like, oh, never mind. Never mind. That's just Zeke.
Those were his top choices.
Yeah.
Yes.
The teams had no interest.
Yeah.
Well, so I can name you all the women that I would like to sleep with.
Yeah.
Beyonce and Scarlett Johansson. But those women have no interest in reciprocating
Not
those advances.
Not Mina Kunis, though.
So that's Zeke talking about, maybe the Jets, maybe this other team. Like, those teams have no interest. The Bengals were on that list. The Eagles were on that list.
Yeah.
Eagles and the Bengals were like, what? No,
How y'all put my name in this?
Exactly. Why? Keep my name out your mouth.
Keep my name out your mouth.
But what it reminds me of, though, seriously, because I think Jerry Jones, we know he has an affection for Zeke. He loves Zeke. He falls in love with his players.
Absolutely.
And nothing wrong with that, by the way. I think there are a lot of ownership. We criticize, professional teams, especially in the NFL, for being too cutthroat, having no sentimentality.
Yep.
To these players who they have treated like family and been around for so long. I've criticized Jerry for being almost overly sentimental and having these connections with players. But I do think it's more of an asset than a liability. I do. I think players actually love playing for Jerry Jones. Because he treats them well, he loves on them.
He's all in with
you. He's a players guy. Yeah, he'd rather talk to the players in the locker room than go talk to the coaches. So he'll go down there and talk to them. It's what he is. So anyway, but I digress. So get with that in mind. What I think this is, it reminds me of when you break up with somebody. I once had a young lady who I broke up with, and I decided stupidly, idiotically, to tell her the truth. I told her exactly why I broke up with her. I was like, these are the reasons. Real. No, not the BS that we all come up with.
My man said reasons.
I was real about it. I was like, no, I'm going to go through these reasons. I'm being mature about this. It's time for me to stop, put aside childish things, be a grown up about some of these relationships. Because people I want somebody to be real with me because I want to improve. I don't want to screw up the same way again. I'd like that. Anyway, that was a mistake. She once told me something that stuck with me. She said, if you cared about me, you'd have lied to me. And I think she might have been right, actually. I think she was right about that. I think I probably, and I think this is what Jerry Jones, he's like, no, I care about him too much to tell him the truth. I care about him too much to sit him down and go, I need you to take a pay cut because you're not the player you used to be. We don't value like we used to value you. You're not going to be good anymore. You're not. This is the best you're ever going to be right now, and you're only going to get worse as a player. He just didn't want to sit down and tell him all those things.
He should have non-exclusive tagged him then.
Exactly. But you're paying him too much then. Right. So I think, and honestly, just like situations like she told me, if you cared about me, you'd have lied to me because what you just told me broke my heart and I'm devastated. Yeah. I might be depressed for the rest of my life for what you just told me. And honestly, I thought she had kind of a point. That's this situation with Jerry Jones. I think Jerry Jones wanted to avoid that awkward situation. Yeah. And say, I care too much about you to tell you the truth.
Well, when you sit here and look
you'll
at
never
Jerry,
recover from it.
But he'll put it in the paper.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He'll put it in the paper. I don't want to tell you to your face, but I'm going to put it. I'm going to call Clarence Hill and say, Clarence, will you write this story for me real quick?
What do I always say about men? Men are cowards. Especially when it comes to breaking up with people. A man would rather, like I said, and I think Jerry's like, no,
he just went out there and was just like, the reason I told you, I didn't want to tell you all that, but have you been getting a lot of date offers? No.
Exactly.
That's why now you want to know why? I'll tell you why.
It's an easier conversation because then they come back to you going, man, the world is not interested in me at all.
Yeah.
You got any interest? You're like, I like you more than they do.
No, I know. And I mean, I don't think anyone's very honest with their players. I know DeMarcus Cousins came out recently and on a podcast and was like, I've asked teams I played for to tell me the reason why they don't want me back. And they'll always sugarcoat it and say nice things. I'm like, how am I supposed to know what I need to fix if y'all won't tell me what I need to fix?
Yes.
And they're like, because we think you're going to hit us if we tell you.
Because you
are
angry.
much bigger than us.
You're starting to sweat, and and you're starting to get this mean look on your face. Yeah,
and I think that's the similar with Zeke, where they're like,
exactly.
look, we don't want to tell you because it'll break our heart too, but We don't need to tell you.
That's a great comparison. I love that comparison. Texas says the people want to know what you told her. I essentially hinted that we didn't have any physical chemistry. Like that was probably the main part of it. That I was, physical attraction. I needed Blue Chew.
It's an enhancement.
I kid.
Wait, was this the same girl?
Enhancer.
Wait, was this the same girl you getting free food from?
No.
And then you get a day job, and you were like,
Now all of a sudden I got a job. Now I don't need you anymore.
I'm kidding, but no, that's kind of what I got into, and I should have just made up something. It's not you, it's me. I always just go with it's not you, it's me. I have personal stuff going on. I'm an idiot. I am the one who is dysfunctional. I'm the one who's deficient. You need to find somebody else.
You could have just said it's all me because I love me some me. That's what you should have said. You was like, it's all about me because I love me some me. And then she would have been like, okay. Now she would have went on about it, and she probably would have been still stalking you. She also stalks you.
She never stalked me. After we moved on, it was fine.
Oh, okay.
But I did check on her after that because I was worried that I got caused some damage. She was fine.
The hope.
She was fine. She's fine. She moved on. She was great.
She went to that minor league player that was making $35,000.
I think I'm not gonna give it too much. She might be listening and find out who it is. We're not getting too much detail. Okay, coming up on the other side, I want to get into some other stuff, but Carlos Watkins is with the Cardinals now. That is also a big move. The Cowboys wanted to resign Carlos Watkins, but I guess they just didn't act quick enough. But they did get Jonathan Hankins, so no big deal there. We'll get into some of the pro day stuff next week as the closer we get to the NFL draft. But TCU's Quinn Johnston ran like a 4.49 and a 4.51. That guy's huge. He's like 6'3", 6'4".
Yes.
As a matter of fact, Kinfolk was talking about
They're talking about how big he was, and
he was
talked
up there
about
at
Max
TCU.
Duggan and how big he was and how he ran. And he thought that he was one of those guys that he was shocked to see that he was able to run like that. So
he ran pretty hot.
Yeah,
for that size, for 6'4", you running 4.49.
Well, you know why, right?
Okay.
Yeah, you forgot, right?
I did until
you
now.
forgot that he was from the 254, dog. That's what it is. That's what we do.
254.
That's how we get it, man. Let me tell you about my friends out in Fredericksburg, Texas. I want you to understand that Allstat beer is true German beer made with 100% true German ingredients. It's brewed right in the Texas Hill Country in Fredericksburg, Texas at the Allstat Brewery. The brewery prides itself on its award-winning German-style beers. The Great American Beer Festival just awarded the Allstat Lager a gold for the second time. And they have a tap room to go along with that great fine dining restaurant. Enjoy some great beer with some great food and, of course, some great friends. It's the weekend. Get out there and enjoy some live music. So plan a trip today. And if you haven't planned a trip, just be spontaneous and go out there. Go to allstatbeer.com and find a local watering hole where you can enjoy some or where you can pick some up on the way home. Allstat beer is made with 100% true German ingredients. That means German hops, German malts, and, of course, German yeast in that natural hill country water. Allstat beer, no impurities, no regrets.
All right, just so we end up having enough time for Rod's rant of the day before we get out of here, we're going to get out now. Coming up next, I want to get into Sark's comment yesterday during his media availability about the deep ball. I actually have the comment. We might have the audio, too. But either way, I did some research about the deep ball for Texas this past season, and you're probably not going to like the numbers. But we'll get into that on the other side. Right here on Ball Don't Lie. I want to 104.9 The Horn. Hey, what's up, folks? Lifetime Longhorn Rod Babers here. Let me tell you about my friends over at MyBookie, because MyBookie offers you the best way to get the most bang for your buck. Trust me, folks, no matter what you're betting on. Maybe you're betting on the national championship winner of the tournament, or maybe you're betting on an NBA game. Maybe you're betting on Major League Baseball games. Whatever you're betting on, trust me, you get the most bang for your buck by betting with MyBookie. We all know with so many brands to choose from, You need a platform that makes it simple to bet, easy to use, and easy to win, like MyBookie. Now, whether you're filling out, your multiple brackets during bracket season, which we just getting past, or whether you're betting on national championship winner, or whether you're betting on who's going to be drafted number one overall in the NFL draft, it doesn't matter, because as long as you're betting with MyBookie, you're betting with the best. They got you covered. Getting started with MyBookie is so simple, so easy. Visit the website online. Go to mybookie.ag. Make your first deposit and use the promo code HORN to claim an exclusive deposit bonus. That's right. Use the promo code HORN, HORN, to claim some extra money on top of your initial deposit. We're talking about straight cash, homie, with hundreds of thousands of prizes in the Madness of March, which is almost over, but also those weekly blackjack tournaments. You can turn your game day into a payday with MyBookie. Bet anything, bet anytime, and bet anywhere. As long as you're betting with MyBookie, you're betting with the best. All right, welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. Got about 15 minutes here before we have to get out of here. So I want to get into some Texas football discussion. Been doing a lot of research about kind of some football theory, if you will, about how this Texas offense is going to look, what's going to be the offensive identity of this Texas offense post-Bijan, post-Rojo, without those training wheels. And something Sark said yesterday really stuck out to me. And he started talking about the deep ball again. We've talked about it. I've talked about it ad nauseum here on this show, how Sark, he joneses for the deep ball. All right? He's almost like Pookie from New Jack City. I got to have that deep ball. And unless he get his deep ball, he's going to be jonesing for the entire game. And we've seen this. If he don't get that deep connection early on in the game, he keeps chasing it. Like Pookie chasing that high. He's just chasing it. And then you look up in the fourth quarter, and Texas has thrown itself out of the damn football game chasing deep shots. And you're like, well, what happened to the short, quick game? You could have completed on second and medium and made it third and short. But he's chasing that deep ball. But he's a big game hunter. So psychologically for him, he's a big game hunter. He's not satisfied with the small game. He doesn't want your quail. He don't want no rabbits. All right, he's looking for a big, large game out there.
Right.
All right, that's the way he operates, and we know enough now that he's not going to walk that back. I don't think he's changing that philosophy anytime soon. And I've talked about how, as a defender on the other side of that, I can tell you the effectiveness of the deep ball. I know why he is so obsessed with the deep ball. The reason he's so obsessed with deep ball is because he builds his offense around almost a fear-based psychological approach. The deep ball, and he knows this as well, it instills fear in your defenders, all of them, especially DBs like me. All right, and I can tell you this, even watching myself on film back in the day. When teams would test me deep, by the way. First of all, because I was the other corner, opposite of Quentin Jammer, top 10 pick in the draft, and opposite Nathan Vasher, all-time leader, tied for all-time leading interceptions at Texas. They ain't throwing at them dudes. So I got tested a lot. And at times, they would test me deep because at the combine, I measured 5'8" 3/4. Not very tall. Put a guy over there at 6'2". Let's play 50-50 ball. Let's play jump ball and see if he can handle it. So they would test your boy deep a lot. And I would even watch myself. If they would throw it, say in the first 2 quarters of the game, first half, they throw 2-3 deep balls on me, it would make me less aggressive during the game. My bump and run technique would become a little less aggressive at the line of scrimmage. I'd probably do more inching technique, inching back, turning my hips a little bit sooner, all right, making sure that I'm staying on top of my receiver on that upfield shoulder. It would make me less aggressive, and it was because they were playing the seed of fear. Because every DB out there fears giving up the deep ball. Nothing will get you benched or dog cussed like giving up an easy deep ball. They call it a freebie. You just gave up a freebie, man. Everybody out here working hard. You disappointed all of the 10 players on the defense and your offense and the special teams and the head coach. You gave up a freebie. So that's and Sark lives in that world. He wants the defense to operate with a fear-based mentality constantly. How do you infuse that fear in the defense psychologically? The deep ball. It's the only thing that does it like that, by the way. Mm-hmm. Now, if you got an Earl Campbell or Bijan Robinson, those really good players like that, yeah, you fear them going off. It's a different type of fear, though. All right, that deep ball. There's nothing that can lay the knockout blow on a defense like a deep ball.
Right.
That's the fear. The fear is that knockout blow, that haymaker that the defense just can't even recover from. It's like, man, that was depressing and debilitating. So Sark operates it. It's all about. So psychologically, it's more about the damage that it does to the defense. So here's Sark yesterday when he was being asked about the deep passes. Can we just cut 6, Patrick? I know you got it ready for me already. Here is Sark when he was asked about whether he was going to continue to emphasize the deep ball, considering how ineffective it was last season.
Without question, our offense doesn't quite work the way it's supposed to work if we don't hit some of those plays. And I don't expect us to be 100%. Anytime you throw a ball beyond 15, 20 yards, the percentage is naturally going to drop. But we try to create those opportunities down the field, and then finding that rapport of the deep ball, whether it's a post, a go, deep crossers, whatever they are, and how it complements themselves with the run game. And then the intermediate passing game is all critical to our success as an offense and then ultimately as a team. So that aspect of the game, as I've been touching on before spring ball, is a huge point of emphasis of ours. And I think that we're starting to see the benefits of it as we're getting into some of these live settings and the way we're throwing the ball and the way we're catching the ball down the field.
So a couple of things. One thing I don't really like about that audio clip, and I'm being very overly critical, I should say, is he didn't mention anything about quick game. He talked about the intermediate, talked about the deep, of course. Didn't talk about the quick passing game. Quick game, 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 quick game. I would mention it almost every week last week until Sark started to emphasize the quick game, because that's the easy way to get your quarterback in a rhythm and in a groove. You start with the quick game, and then slowly but surely you take the intermediate and the deep passes as they come to you in a more natural, organic fashion. I think with Sark at times, he be trying to force that deep ball. He be trying to force it every time, and your quarterback's not in the groove. He's not in a rhythm. As a matter of fact, sometimes that deep ball would do the psychological damage that he wanted to inflict on the defense by instilling fear. It would actually end up instilling anxiety and insecurity in his own quarterback because of how ineffective they were with the deep ball. So that's to me, that's the risk, right? It's like you always say you live by the 3 and die by the 3 in basketball. It's the same thing with the deep ball in football. You can live by it, but you can die by it too. And It is an excruciating death. Because all you see is the opportunity cost, an opportunity that was lost with the deep ball. So and I'm all about the philosophy. I like it, but you have to be more effective with the deep ball. So I want him to emphasize more quick game, because I think that'll lead the defenders to being. Remember I said the deep ball makes me less aggressive? Well, quick game makes me more aggressive as a defender. Why? I'm getting frustrated giving up all these damn underneath routes. Mm-hmm. I'm giving up a 3-yard hitch, giving up a 5-6 yard slant, and I do that over and over again. And sooner or later, as a defender, I'm gonna start cheating. I'm gonna cheat. I'm coming up. All right.
Do something extra.
I'm gonna start being. I'm make a flat-footed read. All right. I'm gonna jump that 3-step drop, because I'm not gonna just keep killing me with the death of 1,000 cuts, and then that'll open up more space in the passing game, with the intermediate game, and with the deep passing game. So I think sometimes Sark just works it from almost the wrong direction, the wrong angle. All right, and the process should be flipped. Right. I think he should work the quick game first. He likes to work the deep game first, and then work his way backwards. Almost like Buddy say, pitching backwards. He does that with the passing game sometimes. Start with the deep ball and then work his way backwards. And I'm not totally opposed to that. Remember, I've said before, you can start that way because that'll back your defenders off, open up the running game, open up some of the passing lanes. But when it doesn't work, and then you continue to force it, that's what I think got Sark in trouble last season and led to quarterback destabilization and regression. Now, during the Alamo Bowl, he didn't keep forcing it. It didn't work, the deep ball, and I think he was a lot more strategic and judicious in how he approached the deep ball, and there was more, I would say, organic quick game and more of the intermediate passing game, and I thought you saw a different Quinn Ewers. So I went and looked at the inefficiency or efficiency of deep ball completion percentage just for Big 12 quarterbacks. Remember, Sark is even telling you in that audio clip, the more I throw this deep ball, the less efficient it is going to be. He knows this. His rational mind knows this.
Yep.
But Coach Steven takes over, and Coach Steven wants that deep ball. I want that deep ball, baby. Chasing it like Pookie from New Jack City. He needs it. Unless he gets it, the whole offense is going to be subject to being essentially the victim of this experiment. I'm trying to make sure that they connect on those deep balls. So I went and looked at completion percentage on passes 20-plus yards downfield with at least 20 attempts. So you have to have at least a minimum of 20 attempts. 20-plus yard pass completion percentage. Individuals and schools. The best individual completion percentage on deep balls in the Big 12 was Jason Bean from Kansas. Over 51%. Then Will Howard from K-State, over 45% completion on his deep balls. TCU's Max Duggan was next at 43.9% on his deep balls. Tyler Shuck of Texas Tech was next at 42.9%. Then KU had two quarterbacks.
Yeah, they did.
That averaged over 40% completion percentage on deep balls. Mm-hmm. Jalen Daniels averaged 40.5%. And then Iowa State Hunter Deckers was right at 40%. Those are the only quarterbacks in the Big 12 that were at least 40% or higher on deep ball completions. And still looking for Texas. You got to go find Hudson Card. Hudson Card on this list. Actually, he's right behind Dylan Gabriel. Dylan Gabriel's at 38%. Hudson Card's at 34.8% completion percentage on 20-plus yard passes. That would put him 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8th overall in the Big 12.
In the Big 12.
In the Big 12.
Yeah.
If you're looking for where Quinn Ewers is, you got to go all the way down to 13th. Yeah, 13th. He's at 23.5%. If I combine Texas's numbers, both their quarterback Custom Card and Quinn Ewers, Texas is at 27% completion percentage on 20-plus yard throws. That would put them at 8th in the Big 12. Only Oklahoma State at 25.8% and West Virginia at 25.9% are worse than Texas's 27% completion percentage on deep passes, 20-plus yards in Big 12 play.
Wow.
So the truth is, listen, there's nothing wrong.
Stop chasing it.
Yeah, so there's nothing wrong with having the philosophy isn't flawed. It's not flawed. The philosophy makes sense to me, and I've even endorsed that philosophy even before Sark got here about opening up the game with deep balls and kind of working your way backwards in the passing game. But he's got to be more effective. You got to hit more of these. You got to hit more than 27%. And Quinn Ewers has got to hit more than 23% of his deep balls. Sorry. You got to get to a third. I need you to be at 33% at least. 33% or higher. You got to make it where at least I have a third of a chance to win on that deep ball.
Give me a shot.
And I think, and for Sark, this is why I think this year might be a little tougher on the deep ball. Remember last year I talked about stacking? Oh, not last year, but last show. I talked about stacking, which is you take your best run concept, whatever it may be, and then you build concepts on top of that. There's a boot on top of that. There's a waggle. There's a naked. There's a deep shot off of that, right? You got all your play action game and even some of your RPO game built off of whatever your most successful run play is, because as a defense, basically if they build their game plan to stop your most successful run play, that'll leave them vulnerable other places on the field or other places within the structure and the construct of their defense when they're compelled, all right, to neutralize that run play. Well, for Sark, last year a lot of that was outside zone, inside zone. They run everything. They run power and gap and counter with Rojo as well back last season when they were building, or like I said, you're scaling those plays and you're finding a way to build off of those run plays. The one thing that worries me is you don't have Bijan and Rojo, and you may not be able to stack like you did last year.
Come on.
With that concept.
Come on.
And what's going to be your most successful run plays?
Exactly.
And most of his shots are play action pass shots where you're fooling defense stacking on those same concepts.
Are you going to convince them?
Yeah.
Are you going to convince them?
A little football theory there. All right, what's on tap for you this weekend?
Round Rock Express this weekend, basketball with my son, and of course we're going to be hanging out with Tyler Campbell and his foundation this weekend.
That's a beautiful thing. Patrick, what you got on tap, brother?
I'm going to be hanging out tonight at Come and Take It Live, and then probably hanging out, see what's going on. Yard work.
Yard work. I got some of that, too, going on this weekend. This weekend, I'm going to hang out and watch a lot of trash TV. I'm catching up on my trash TV.
Not shocked by that.
All you out there, please have a great weekend. Remember, the release not be televised. We'll be talking about it right here on Ball Don't Lie. We love you guys. We mean that. Take care of yourselves, but more importantly, take care of each other. Craig Way, Texas baseball, coming up next versus Oklahoma State. Don't go anywhere. Peace.